Hi guys. I'm not. Oh, we got 14 people here already. Wow, I didn't realize that. Okay, guys. So I'm glad you made it. Like I said, Patricia's not here. Jeff already checked in. He's driving, but he was so kind as to check in, and that really makes me feel special, Jeff, because I feel like you guys care about what I have to say, or at least want to communicate and tell me what you have to say. So it means a lot to me that I know you're traveling and you still checked in. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is we can talk about anything you want to. You just post it, but I thought I'd start with this Supreme Court decision on birthright citizenship. So everyone heard. Let me give you the basics if you haven't already. Let me get that up here. All right, there's other ones that I wanted to go. So it was a 6-3 ruling. The three dissenting judges were Clarence Thomas, Justice Alito, and Justice Gorsuch. Of course, all the usuals. Roberts, we know that there may be issues with Roberts and his adoption, and the same with Comey Barrett and her adoption. And then, of course, there was Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. And Kavanaugh concurred in part, but he left the door open for change. So that's kind of a good thing. So anyway, they basically, what happened was Trump wrote an order on day one to stop birthright citizenship. Now, he has said that no other country does it. I haven't been able to confirm that yet. Even Fox is reporting that. But it does seem like some other countries have some form of birthright citizenship. It may not be as liberal as ours. So anyway, if you guys don't know what birthright citizenship is, basically 2 terrorists can enter this country illegally, drop a kid on our soil, immediately take that kid back to Iran or wherever he's going, wherever they're from, start training him as a terrorist, and at any time at all, that child has the right to enter this country and blow up our buildings. Okay, so that's really, to me, the liberal justices were saying that it's a security issue, and I'd say it is a security issue when you have people coming in here totally unvetted. I don't care if they're newborns or if they're 20 years old. The thing is, like that example I used of a terrorist, and we know that 1 million Chinamen have done that through Guam already. It was a service that they had where over 1 million Chinamen went to this service in Guam, and they got U.S. citizenship, or they dropped babies and got U.S. citizenship. Now, mind you, these people have dual citizenship. So they might have the U.S. citizenship, but they also have their own country still. So like if they come from, a terrorist country, they'll have dual citizenship. They can be raised there. They never have to spend one day in the United States to be a U.S. citizen and come freely in and out whenever they want to. So, I'm livid about it. It looks like we're down. Who do I have here? I'm down to 1. Is that possible? We lost a bunch of people? I don't know. But who do I have? Anybody? Dan, are you still here? Did I lose Dan? I know Jeff is driving, so I don't expect him to. Well, then, if it's just, I got somebody else just popped in. Okay, so that's the deal on the birthright citizenship. Now, President Trump has said that apparently he doesn't find it a problem, and he thinks he can do it in Congress. Well, we all know about Congress. Here's the deal. If we want to do a constitutional amendment, there's a major problem, and that's because 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of states must agree to that if we change the amendment, if we make a true amendment. But Trump is saying it can be done without an amendment. And the only way that I found that can be done is if it's done through some sort of further restrictions. Like years ago, we restricted diplomats because, they are not here for the purpose of enjoying America. They're diplomats for other countries. So we exempted them a while back. And it's very possible that Trump's talking about exempting or creating more exemptions for these people that come in and drop a baby. So don't be abusing emojis up in here. Hey, I never get emojis on the regular chat. For some reason, when I'm answering, I can't give emojis. So I'm going to emoji the heck out of you, maybe. How's that? Okay, good. I'm glad to see you're here. So anything special you want to talk about, or you want to talk about these various decisions? Because I am going to do a video on it, on the decisions, but I'm free to talk about anything else too. Oh, that was supposed to be an emoji. I wanted to find a love emoji. I'm not too good at this, guys. Well, it's a gone thing. So what do you think? Do you want to hear about the rest of the decisions? Do you have a specific question that you have that you want to talk about? You want to talk about whatever. I don't care. Let me see what I have on the schedule here that I've been working on. Let's see. The SCOTUS rulings, the infrastructure attack. I think I talked about that briefly on Friday. And then there's the June 25th rulings, which we talked about. The deal with the devil. Who knows about that one? If you want to talk about that one. And then the Clean Living Lab. I'm going to be making some ginger beer on there, homemade ginger beer, because you know what? These ginger beers, and I'm not talking about beer. Again, I've mentioned this before. It's not beer. It's a fermented digestive substance, which is really good. It's just like a fermented soda, so to speak. And I went through, try to find a ginger ale with ginger in it. It's almost impossible. So that's why I make my own. And then I'm going to be talking about Manuka honey. I just put up one on the various oils and how to cut them out, the dangerous ones, and how to identify them and why they're dangerous. So, so that's something you might want to look at on these oils, because let me give you a rundown in case you're not on there. Just tell me to shut up and talk about something else if you want to talk about something else, okay? So the oils, I'm going to give you a down and dirty on it, okay? Almost everything has some kind of oil in it, and I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's dry packaged. I picked up a beans and rice dry package. It was loaded with vegetable oils. So the thing is that if you're cooking this, because of the structure of the various oils, they're fatty, they're different fats, and the saturated fats are the ones that are the most stable. So the best thing to cook with is going to be coconut oil, ghee, or one more. No, that's plastic bottles, the heat stability. And the third one is butter. So I love butter. And so if you can cook with butter, coconut oil, or ghee, that is the safest one, because they don't break down easily into toxins. The second one is the monounsaturated. That's the avocado and the olive oil. You can cook with them as long as you don't go over 375 degrees, which is when it starts smoking. And at that point, it does start making something that's unhealthy to you. And it's all explained in the video. If you buy extra virgin olive oil, it's really important, guys. The first thing you do is you pick it up, you look at the ingredients panel, because I can't tell you how many olive oils are not all olive oil. They're contaminated and deliberately, not by accident. It'll say on there, extra virgin olive oil and canola oil. Put it right back. Put it right back. If it's in a plastic bottle, because oil sucks microplastics, put it back if it's in a plastic bottle. Let me check if you guys have another subject or if I should go on. Why chills run down? Oh, there was Tim. He told me he was going to do this. Hi, sweetheart. So my husband Timmy's there. Yes, olive. But don't let the olive smoke. That's the thing. Keep it under 375 then. Okay, so Tim, my sweet husband, is a musician. And there's certain music that makes him get chills and stuff running down his spine. He gets all excited by music. Well, apparently, you're going to love this one, Tim. It's called, everybody might, it's called piloerection. Piloerection. Pilo being hairs, the hairs on your arms and stuff. And we all know what an erection is. So piloerection occurs by a trigger in the brain. And it's with people that have it's by the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight one that I've talked about many times before. It's the one behind excitement and fear. And what happens is that kicks in, you might get goosebumps, shivers, and tingling. And basically, there's people that are highly emotional, which Tim is, and they're specifically subject to these chills and stuff that you go. Apparently, it's the dopamine. Your dopamine, when you're highly emotional, your dopamine just floods into your body, creating this intense pleasure, similar to food, sex, and other rewards. So that's why you get that feeling of goosebumps or chills down your spine when you have certain music that really hits you just so. Oh, hi, Tahoe. Tahoe's here. Good. We were just going over the oil. I don't know if you've seen the oil video. We went over the SCOTUS decision. If you want to know something, just let me. Oh, you're on a bus, Tahoe. Okay, so you'll rewatch. You guys are so great. Even in your travels, you take time and share yourself with me, and I'm so very thankful. Okay, so the oil. Let's go back to the oils. Let me finish that because I'm giving you like the down and dirty. So where we were on that Tahoe was that basically to cook, you should use coconut oil, butter, or ghee. And that's because they're the most stable and those three fats don't break down. Olive oil only has one double bond in the structure, so it's a lot harder to break down, but it will break down. And when it starts smoking, you've got toxins coming out of it if you use olive oil or other substances like avocado oil. So as long as the olive oil or the avocado don't smoke, you're good to go. In cooking, anything else are polyunsaturated, and like canola oil, all kinds of stuff. They're really bad for you, and you shouldn't use them. Sunflower oil, stuff like that, real bad. The second reason that besides you could have the purest EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. Even because one thing I said too is that you have to watch when you buy EVOO is that sometimes it's actually not all olive oil. Sometimes it's not even extra virgin. So it's, it's mixed with things like canola oil, sunflower, and there's a lot of them. So if it's got anything except olive oil, get rid of it. If it's in plastic bottles, don't buy it. The second issue you have to watch with these oils, guys, is that the extraction method. And many of you have probably heard that it's important to use a cold extraction. And here's why. The cold extraction basically is they might do a little crushing of the seeds, but there's very little heat. It's a mechanical thing. Nothing's heated. And we talked about this on my other, I think last week's live. When you apply heat to any kind of medicines or anything, foods, anything, the heat clearly is going to break down the chemical structures inside of them, unless it is a saturated fat that's very, very stable. And eventually, I'm sure they can break down. But so if you use a cold press, there's no heat applied. If you, and even if it's expeller pressed, okay? Now, if you use a heat expeller, so it only says expeller, not cold pressed, okay, those are solvent free, but the heat alone can break down the oils to something. It's more of a nutritional. So if you use expeller pressed, you're not getting toxins from the solvents that are used, but you are getting, you're losing your nutritional value. That's why everyone says a raw diet is so much healthier than cooking your food. And then the ones you want to stay away from are if they don't say anything about cold pressed or expeller pressed, you want to stay away from it because that means it was chemically removed from the source seed or olives or whatever. And what they do is they use hexane of all things and other petroleum-based solvents. And obviously that can leave a lot of dangerous things in there that are harmful and actually cause, they bleach these things. So after they do that, they take that, right? It's not enough to extract it with chemicals. Then they take this cake, like if you've ever done juicing, you know that cake on the bottom. Then they take that cake and they even further extract it with chemicals. And then they bleach it, they deodorize it, and all this stuff is leaving chemicals in there. So you've lost your nutrients, and not only have you lost your nutrients in the chemical extractions, but you've also added toxins to it. So that's just a little down and dirty on it. And by the way, those chemicals in there can cause systemic inflammation, vascular damage by actually harming the linings of our blood vessels. So if you've got cardiovascular disease, it breaks down those proteins. And also it can cause cellular stress, which is breaks down your DNA. And so it's just watch those oils, because and read every packaging. You'll be shocked at some of the things that have got these toxin oils in them. Okay, so let's see if we got anything here. Anybody got any questions? What do you want to talk about? Okay, so Susan. Hi, Susan. Okay, so what we did, Susan, is we talked about the SCOTUS decision. Tell me what you guys think about this birthright citizenship. Basically, the Supreme Court overturned an executive order that ended birthright citizenship on day one of Trump's second term. So they said, nope, they can still come in and drop babies off. And what I said, which I did a lot of research on this to make sure, of course I always do, but basically 2 terrorists can drop off a baby and come to the U.S. illegally, have a baby on this soil, on American soil. They can immediately remove that child and bring it back to their homeland, train it as a terrorist, and that child is now a dual citizenship and has the right to freely enter and leave our country legally. So to me, that's a major issue. Clarence Thomas really reamed the Supreme Court out over that decision. He said he doesn't think it's going to stand. So that's where we were there. We went over the oils. I'm not going to go over them again. There's a video up on the Clean Living channel. If you haven't already seen it, Susan, you want to definitely go there and check that out, because Tim and I cut the oils out a long time ago because we knew how toxic they were. Also, I filmed the video on the filter system that we use for our water, and that'll be coming up. All right. Of course, my love, I love you right back. Okay, so let's see. He believes we are, so Den said, I believe we are operating under the rules and statutes of, what is COG, as explained by Derek Johnson? He spams me all the time, and I know he has some good stuff, but he spams me a lot on X, always just sending me every single thing he posts. And I know he's talked about that, and I'm not a military person, or I don't really, like I said, I don't, continuance of government. Okay, thank you. So that's what Derek said. He said that why we are watching in real time the devolution of the government. And you know, that makes sense. I can see that all of this stuff has to be put in place, and then bam. Oh, here's one thing too. I would tend to agree with him that that's part of the reason. I still think we're cleaning out things and cleaning out agencies and traders. And let me tell you why. The decision that the SCOTUS made on the president's ability to fire people in these independent federal agencies. Don't you just love that one? So we're paying for them, but they're independent, and we don't get to oversee them. We don't get to audit them. Basically, that's all up to them to do. And they're called independent agencies. I'll put the link in here. FTC is one. I'm going to bring only these 2, but there's a boatload of them that operate outside of our oversight, basically, in a nutshell, with our money. And the FTC is one, and so is the Fed, which everybody knows about. So what SCOTUS ruled, which I find quite odd, the Federal Reserve Act and the FTC Act are essentially the same. What they say is that the executor, the president, has the absolute right to fire these people with cause. Now, of course, cause isn't defined, which it never is. They name a couple of them, but they don't really spell it out. And that's that. I don't know if that's good or bad. It leaves room for interpretation, and that's why we're in so many courts, because of these nebulous laws. But so the Supreme Court upheld his firing of the FTC commissioner, and said, and basically said that the president has, at his sole discretion, has the right to fire high level people in these, I don't want to say immune, because they're not immune, of these independent agencies. However, that was in the Trump versus Slaughter. Her name is Rebecca Kelly Slaughter. She's a Democrat, and in March 2025, he fired her. And of course, the Democrats fought and said they could only be removed for insufficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance. And the lower court blocked the firing. The Supreme Court just reversed that and said that the holding that FTCs, and I want you to remember this when I tell you what they said about the Fed. The holding that the FTC's for cause removal protection violates separation of powers. That's what they decided. That it violates separation of powers if President Trump can't fire his own people under the executive branch. And all of these, so that you understand, these independent agencies are under the executive branch. At least, I don't know if everyone, because I haven't checked everyone, but I know the Fed is and I know the FTC is. They're his employees, and so that basically, if he can't fire them, that stops the separation of power. But on Trump versus Cook, which is Lisa Cook, in the Federal Reserve, she's a member of the Federal Reserve Board, the one that has been accused of mortgage fraud. Now, this is a woman that's writing the laws to keep the integrity in our financial system, and she's doing what all the rest of them did with these, bogus mortgages. So what they did is they actually carved out the Fed separately. And they said that because of the importance of the Fed and the continuity of government, thank you for mentioning that, that Cook can remain in her position while the underlying litigation continues in lower courts. So, and then I thought, well, there has to be probable cause, the Supreme Court said. Isn't the fact that she's, fighting in court about this? Well, I found out that she hasn't been indicted yet. And so that's what they're basically going on, is that she hasn't been indicted, so there's not enough probable cause that she conducted some kind of unethical activities. So they took it upon themselves, basically, in my opinion, SCOTUS took it upon themselves to rewrite law. What they did is they exempted the Fed from the same exact scrutiny, as far as, it's not even scrutiny, they still have no scrutiny, but from the same exact reasons to remove them as every other independent agency. Anybody know why the Fed is specifically exempted? And it was a bunch of them too. It wasn't just one. The Cook case, it was a significant majority of them. I think, I don't have it right here in my notes, but I think it was also Barrett and a Chief Justice went in and joined them and said that he can't fire the Fed, the members of the Fed board. So that kind of stinks too, but I think there's something behind that. If they force if they force Cook to go to court and they indict her criminally, then that's going to open up a lot of discovery and a lot of records. And that's sometimes how we have to get stuff in the courts and we have to get things heard is through discovery. So I'm wondering if they're just like, because we know this has already been decided, all of this. We've been told that many times. So I'm wondering if they specifically kept Cook in office so that she could be indicted and they could then gather more information, more evidence on other wrongdoings within the Federal Reserve. So that's my thoughts on that one. I don't know that, but I think that possibly that is a possibility. Once she's indicted, that is probable cause, and I think that it would be impossible for them to not let him remove her. I think they would have to. Okay, so nobody's got questions today. You just want to hear me blab or what? Give me a break, guys. Give me some questions. Let's see. Let me see what I got here in my notes. Those I've done. What do you guys think about Don Jr. and his choice of bedfellows? First, he had the Fox newscaster that was married to Newsom, and now he's got this elite banker's daughter, and he sure has been pushed out of the number one son position, hasn't he? You don't hear from Don anymore. He's still hanging around in the family, but it seems like Barron's the one that's coming out and now being set up to be the future of our government, perhaps. I'd love to see Melania personally, but I think she's great. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Anybody have anything to say about Don Jr. and what's going on with that? Nobody's got anything. Okay. So what else is in the news, guys? Let me see. I normally have so many questions there that I try to keep up with, but I can keep going. Hang on. I'm on X, and I get a lot of stuff on X. Oh, and by the way, the comment that I put on X, and I swear, in less than an hour, I must have 1,000 likes on this thing. And basically, it's what I told you guys earlier. What I said is the SCOTUS birthright decision affirms the right of terrorists to come into the U.S. legally, drop an anchor baby, and then immediately bring that baby home to their country, train it in these indoctrination camps that they have, these terrorist camps, and raise and train that child as a terrorist, and then that new terrorist anchor baby can come in and out of the U.S. whenever it wants. How does this protect the Americans? Because something really, that one concerns me the worst out of everything, because there were solutions to that, guys, to that whole birthright citizenship thing. It didn't have to be retroactive. It could have been from this day forward. Those people, Bondgate. What is that, Tony? Hi, Tony. How you doing? Bondgate. Explain. Explain that one. Tim says the only coconut oil I know is the best is Spectrum, and it's always in a glass jar and cold pressed. So if you guys are looking to cut some of these toxins out of your system, Spectrum coconut oil. He's on top of our food a lot, more than I am usually, but we each have our own issues that we push between us. So, people, from what I'm seeing on X, are overwhelmingly upset about this birthright citizen decision. Nobody's commenting on them. Here's one. Seriously. I get some seriouslys and stuff like that, and 100% and stuff like that. Here we have one. This guy says, let's see if he's liberal or conservative. Okay, so I've got a guy on here, Aaron Richland Melnick. He says, and to my comment about how it affirms these people coming in and dropping little terrorists off, he says, I've seen this kind of take before, and it's just patently silly. And that's what I'm getting overwhelmingly on my X channel. And no. I'm sorry. He's a liberal. He says that my thought, now you tell me if you agree with this one. My thoughts, he says, what terrorist would go to this elaborate plan, okay, which would take decades to pull off when they can just get someone here on a visa? Well, he makes a good point and pull off an attack. Or just do what ISIS does and radicalize an American. And he does make a good point. I agree with him. There's other things that are also wide open that's putting us in danger. And he makes a good point. But the problem is that my observation is that these terrorists are in it for the long haul. They're not looking for a quick fix. They're not looking for something to happen quickly. They've been raising these little terrorists for decades. You know, these people that are all terrorists now, they weren't born that way. They were raised that way. So I tend to disagree with that, why they would go to the trouble. They absolutely would go to the trouble. You know, that kid's 18 years old, ship him over here to blow up a building. So that part of it I don't agree, and I'll make a comment to him. But there are other ways that they can just get in here. Oh, and there was another thing that I thought of. Tell me what you think about this one. What if ICE put ICE agents outside of hospitals? What if they somehow got into the birth certificate databases and they got a warrant and went in and immediately arrested the illegal parents that just gave birth to that baby, that anchor baby? That would get them out for a while, because basically most of them would probably take the kid with them. But then again, you have the problem. 18 years later, that kid can walk back into this country and do anything they want to us. Even younger than 18. Who knows? Child could be sent over here on a plane by itself at 5 years old to blow up something. You don't know. So it just is a bad ruling. Okay. The fraud in the state bonds. Tell me about it a little more, Tony. You mean about with the Federal Reserve? If you're talking about the Federal Reserve, yeah, I can talk about that. Agenda 2030 will explain the globalist long game. You know, I've heard about it again. I've heard about Agenda 2030, and the year is odd, isn't it? Because that's when the shift is supposed to be complete. Briefly, I heard of Agenda 2025. Remember, it was the big deal that Trump was trying to do something terrible, and it wasn't even Trump doing it. He might have done something, planned to created by, it was by the United Nations. So guys, Agenda 2030 was created by the United Nations 2015, right before Trump became president. Oh, but listen to this. Listen to this. It's officially called the 23rd Agenda for Sustainable Development, and coincidentally, it includes 17 sustainable development goals that all UN member countries agreed to work towards by the year 2030. So that almost sounds like a cute thing to me. 17 goals, 2030, which is supposed to be the end of it. The main ideas are to end poverty and hunger, improve health, education, and equality, promote economic growth, and fight climate change. Yeah, well, that one's got to go. It's meant to balance the people, the planet, and prosperity so that no one is left behind. Countries use it as a shared guide for policies and projects. So, you know, I don't know, to be honest with you, if it is the globalist end game. Dan, tell me why you think that, because from what I'm seeing, school bonds. I'm checking. With school bond. I thought you meant the bonds that the Federal Reserve apparently issues to itself and never gives us any of the interest on it. Keeps it for itself and puts in a new commonly a way for public schools to raise money for big projects. Was that SCOTUS ruling? I didn't see that in the SCOTUS rulings. Updating classes, blah, 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 blah. Districts borrow money, issue bonds, and repay it over 10 to 30 years, mostly through higher property taxes and local homeowners and businesses. Okay. Now, so it's a way for public schools to raise money. This is good as far as public schools raising money, like building new schools, fixing roofs, updating classrooms, or buying technology. The district borrows the money and repays it over 10 to 30 years. So basically, am I hearing right that that's a way that our taxes are not funding the schools anymore, Tony? Is that what your understanding that is? Oh, there's fraud in it. Gotcha. Well, of course there is. Anytime there's money, let's see, examples of fraud in school bonds. Okay, here's my thoughts on that. Forever, we have known that if we give states money or people money, I don't care if it's individuals or states, they're going to steal it unless we have it locked down tight enough. We've been so lax. We have this government that is ballooned to an immense size where we have more chiefs than we have Indians, and it's just more people to steal. So, I'm all about cutting down the size, quit paying all these buffoons to steal our money. Here, I'm going to share with you guys what these concerns are. Crosby Independent School District in Texas, 2022. SEC charged the district and its former CFO with fraud in $20 million bond sales. They hit 11.7 in payroll. What did we just say? And construction debts and falsely claimed healthy reserves in financial statements. So what do you guys think? And then there's also the Rochester, of course, New York theft. Officials hit a large budget shortfall of over 25 to 42 million. Am I the only one that thinks it's a little bit odd that our government can lose millions of dollars? And it's like, so what? Nobody even blinks twice at it. So it was caused by overspending when marketing a $119 million bond offering. They misled investors, what a shock, and credit agencies about the district's financial health. And then, of course, we can't forget another usual suspect, California. They had capital appreciation bonds. Critics and grand jury reports called out Wall Street scams where exotic bonds. I don't know a lot about this. I'm going to look in this more, so I can do a better analysis on it, because I really don't have enough here. But they were pushed on districts. Some raised hundreds of millions, but created massive repayment burdens for the people. I get what you're saying. So they borrow this money, they steal it, and then they raise the taxes of Americans. Is that basically what you're saying? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. And that's going to happen with anything. How do we stop the theft? I think that they're doing a good job. When Kash Patel, and I know this from my own experience in state government, when Kash Patel transferred a bunch of FBI agents from DC to the field offices, that was ingenious, guys. What happens is, number one, they had a good old boys club up in the DC office, the headquarters, right? All the other people on the field don't have a clue what's going on, but the good old boys club in DC were shredding documents and all kinds of hiding evidence and all kinds of stuff. So for me, it was ingenious to put those agents out on the field. When I worked for the state, every day I got in my car and I did nothing but go around all day long, drive around looking for trouble. And that's what FBI agents are doing. Is it oppressive? I didn't abuse it. And if they're not allowed to abuse it, then no, it isn't. I would go specifically, because don't forget, there's a jurisdiction involved. Now, FBI's jurisdiction is rather broad. My jurisdiction was specifically, there had to be a drug involved, a medical device, or a cosmetic, or something being promoted as having effects as one of those things. So for me, you know, I was quite limited, and I went mostly into places where, you know, drugs were being handled. And yes, if you're handling drugs, you should be under scrutiny. Should the FBI be able to come in and see what I'm watching on my TV? Absolutely not. And that was another thing that went down too. The SCOTUS outlawed those what is the language? Let me give you the correct language. Geofence warrants, they called it. And what that did is that allowed the police to go to Google or whoever and just, without a warrant, just collect information on your whereabouts, what you've been doing. This is the Snowden thing. We all know about Snowden. So there was a case of Chattree versus the U.S., and basically what happened is Richmond, Virginia police got this warrant, a geofence warrant. And so it doesn't, you don't need a warrant for you. So it's a geofence. What that means is they can get a warrant for a geographic location. Now, the way they sell something like this is a bank was robbed. So we want, within this many miles, we want all data on people that were located in this area at the time. They are able to do that. They're able to get a warrant that broad. So you have the misfortune of being in that particular geographic area at the time, and they're pulling your data off of your phones and where you are and everything else. So the Supreme Court held that the police use of the geofence warrant constituted a search under the Fourth Amendment, because people have a reasonable expectation of privacy even in public places. So a reasonable expectation of privacy on their cell phones, even in public places. So that was a good win too. You know, we've gotten some good wins these last 2 days. I was just really cranked about that birthright citizenship, but I'll bet you $1 to a donut that there's a plan behind that somewhere. Okay, let's see. Yes, rabbit hole. Yeah, they are a rabbit hole, Tony. I can see that. How do you guys, how do we give money for, well, I think what Trump is doing is really good. And here's why. In Florida, we don't have state taxes. We pay only federal taxes, right? So Trump is bumping so many things as far as these bonds and funding and so forth down to state levels to make their own rules regarding it. So basically, they're stealing state funds of the people that live in that state. It's a way of confining it. It's not an absolute. But, you know, why should these liberal states be stealing all of our tax dollars? Let them steal the people that are voting for them, which I don't believe they're voting for them personally. I think it's been rigged for many, many years, but that's my personal opinion. But so why should federal taxpayers be paying for the theft of Minnesota and Massachusetts and California and all these things that's being done? And I can tell you that I know from a fact, because I traced, it's really time consuming, but I went into the database and I checked the NGO, the non-governmental organization money on one particular trail. And it went right to a state official in California. She didn't get all the money. She had an NGO, and she got $350,000 a year to be on the board of this NGO. Then I learned that this same woman was on the board of 5 NGOs. So if she's getting 300 grand just to sit on a board of each one of these NGOs that the Somalians are all stealing, or the hospice thieves in California are all stealing, that's how they're getting rich. That's how they're getting rich with the NGOs. So as far as I'm concerned, Musk did this country a huge, huge service by shutting down those NGOs, or shutting down a lot of them. The state bonds will bankrupt the nation. Now, when you say state bonds, hi Helen, how you doing? I know she puts this question with this. I know it's amazing when we get into it. We know already so much fraud that's been going on by these government officials, and they're paying these Somalians. Make no bones about it. Somebody is burying the records or controlling the records so that some little zealot like me, that's got my little suit on and just got my state job, that I don't go in there and start looking for this kind of stuff. So they're buffering these people. There's no way they aren't part of it. So the state bonds will bankrupt the nation. Let's see what Grok has to say about it. How can these state school bonds in this fund bankrupt the nation? Thank God I can speak extemporaneously about a lot of things with your health and foods and stuff, but thank God I'm not an expert in politics, because I'd be dead by now if I was, probably. I'd be the whistleblower in every one of them. Now, of course, Grok says it's unlikely to bankrupt the nation, but there are indirect risks. They are local municipal debt. They're issued by the school districts, and they're repaid mostly through local property taxes. And here's the other thing, guys. Florida, it's going on the ballot. They weren't able. We have our sticklers and our problems as well. You can't get rid of every one of these hacks. But DeSantis, at least he says that, and he promoted going completely property tax free in Florida. Well, the legislature didn't give us completely tax-free, but they've cut down on our property taxes quite a bit. But now the people have to vote that in. So in states that have property, and there's like 7 or 8 other. So this is a good point on this one, Tony. So look at your angry face. Helen's like this, and Tony's angry. So if you look at it like this, what's going to happen when states get on the bandwagon and start exempting homestead properties as property taxes? That if that law specifically says, and that's what it looks like, mostly through local property taxes, not the federal, that's kind of going to solve that problem of these bonds, these school bonds. The U.S. municipal debt is large, hundreds of billions, but it's spread across thousands of districts and states. It's much smaller than the federal national debt of over 30 trillion right now. The reason they can become a big product is it's a local strain. Many districts face higher repayment costs, so I guess there's going to be interest on it. And if we keep this fed, the interest rates are going to keep going. Let the damn schools pay 32% on their credit. So they make cuts. So what they're saying is that these bonds, because it's costing them money, that they may cut school programs, and they may start to raise property taxes to cover them and stuff. So you make an excellent point. Widespread trouble in the municipal bond market, of course, scares investors. Right, it's all over the place. Raise borrowing costs for all governments and freeze funding for schools. State and federal pressure states often help struggling districts. Can anybody say which struggling districts there usually are? They're usually the Democratic districts, from what I've observed in this state. In extreme cases, multiple failures could lead to calls for federal bailouts. Yeah, that's not going to happen again, I hope, at least not under Trump. And then broader debt bubble fears. So now here's what they say. Municipal defaults are historically rare. So what? That doesn't mean it can't happen. Most districts manage their debt fine. That's not my experience with some of these blue districts. And the system has survived recession. So I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm kind of like over Grok and many things. I have different AIs that I use for each thing, because all AIs hallucinate. And I talked about that before. They take puzzle pieces that are fact, and then rather than digging deeper, they fill in the probabilities of the things that they don't have the pieces for. It's called hallucination by an AI. And they all have it. But there's some that are better for some things. Like, for instance, when I'm researching things for my channel, I use Gemini. I hate using it because it's owned by Google, but I use it because Google owns YouTube. So hopefully they're not going to misdirect me in that area. If it's something that everybody's talking about and it's hot in the news, I go to X. But X, I don't care what Elon says, is still very left-wing leaning. The engine repetitively defends liberal stances. Oh, good point. So Den says this is exactly why the federal education system. There you go. So that's what Den is saying is these bonds that they have. Oh, hi, Han. I can't say that. Han. Hi, Han. How are you? From the Netherlands. What part? I'm here for the first time. I really love your content. Thank you. I love the Netherlands. And you guys are doing great. Your International Criminal Court, take them down. Take Pfizer down. Take down. I hope you guys are on top of this because that demon Fauci needs to go down. And my experience in the courts are is that every case leads to multiple other perps or other targets, multiple other targets. So if Gates and there's three of them, it's somebody in the Netherlands, your prime minister or somebody, and the CEO of Pfizer, and Gates are all subject to this suit. And basically they are putting on testimony to show it was a bioweapon. So if that goes down, all of that evidence now becomes public record. I don't know if you've seen it, but I posted it. I'm using the community board more often. So go onto the community board for little things. I'm using it more like an X or a Facebook thing. But basically, let me go to the right one. Make sure I have it here. Bear with me. You're going to love this one. The Alliance of Indigenous Nations of Canada. And so there's many indigenous people there, I guess, many different tribes, just like in the US. They declared COVID-19 as a bioweapon officially. They put out an edict. The Native Americans did it, right? Saying that COVID-19 is a bioweapon. And it clearly lays out, I've got the entire document listed. So if you've got some friends that are still taking the jab, you might want to show them this because the document does list the reasons why they have done it. It's a section right there on page 2, reasons. The expert opinion, and they've got this Dr. Boyle's opinion, then another doctor's opinion, Dr. Anna Maria McKellichi, and then they're talking about the nanotechnology and how the hydrogel polymers work. The biosensors indicated that she and her colleagues have chronicled the growth of nanotechnology hydrocell polymers in the C-19 vaccines. Vaccinated and unvaccinated blood is exposed through shedding. So that nanotechnology hydrogel is shedding. And if you're standing near somebody that had the vaccine, and we always knew the shedding was possible, you could contract it. Usually, the shedding is only for like a couple weeks to maybe a couple months at best. So I'm guessing that the reason they're bringing this up is that is because that probably prolongs the shedding. Is what I'm guessing by putting it in that the nanotechnology allows it to spread further because they're tiny little nanoparticles, and the hydrogel polymers in all likelihood make it more stable, make the shedding, the shedding viruses more stable, and so they'll last longer, would be my guess on that. Quantum dots, nano and micro robots are nanoscale technology that can information and act as biosensors. Oh my God. So they've got biosensors if they've taken this shot, because she's documented that some of them have them. And then, of course, she brings up the blood clots, and she says that's because of those exact plastics, those polymer plastics that are in there. That's why that clotting. And that sure makes sense, doesn't it? The clots show indestructibility, and it translates to harm in patients. Then she says, Dr. Mahalasia, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, has evidence that humans are being transformed into transhumans without their consent. Hydrogel is an extremely versatile substance that can mimic, oh my gosh, any cell in the body, including the brain. But it doesn't. Now, this document is on our community board, guys. It's like the second or third post that I have down there, and there's a link. You can pull this up. Can mimic any cell in the body, but it doesn't just mimic cells. It replaces them. I'm going to have to do a video on this. You know that. She's witnessed the growth of hydrogel sheets in human blood, and how that growth results in a reduction of natural blood cells. This change in the body is nothing less than transhumanism. And affected people are unwittingly being transformed without their consent. The way I came across this is I have a very good friend that, and it's sad because it's happened. I'm sure it's happened to many of you guys, but she has a friend that she was brought up with, right? And that friend, that friend is a liberal, and she keeps taking the jabs. And my friend is awake. She never took the jab. She's in the medical field. She's the one that I talked about before that I checked with, that runs these doc-in-a-boxes. She runs a bunch of doc-in-the-boxes, and she's the administrator over those emergency clinics. And so she sent that to this friend. Absolutely. Well, I haven't gotten it yet. This girl is smart. The woman is a self-made millionaire, and she ran her own businesses, and she won't even look at information about topics regarding, that's how brainwashed they are about the vaccine. The common home price, what is that? Get out. What is that? That's too many numbers, Tony. What is that? 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that 900? Oh, maybe there's supposed to be 2 dots there. It's not 900,000. That number's huge. Write the word out for me, because I'm not sure. Oh, Den. Han, Den said hi to you. Warm, or do I better say cool? Greetings from the Netherlands. So I bet you it is cold. Let's see. You guys, is it cool there? It's so beautiful. I remember one of my best experience. I love the Netherlands, but I was in that little town that has the windmills and the Hershey factory. I forget it now. It's been so many years ago. But I remember walking by, and there were tulips that were blooming right out of snow. And so there's snow on the ground, and tulips are blooming right out of it. And I'm like, wow, this is just amazing. Because I've seen people plant them in Florida too, and they came up, but they put them in the fridge, and they only pull them out to bloom. So I found that really odd. So anyway, so that's what this, there's more on it that I can go over. Let's take a look. So she says, this doctor said, oh no, now we're down to the tribunal hereby concludes that these heavy metal, polyethylene, poisons, toxins, nanotechnology, biosensors are deliberate experiments on mankind, and an attempt to fuse synthetic control mechanisms into humans. I'm so glad that I didn't get that. I mean, I wouldn't have anyway, because of just, I don't do doctors. So I wouldn't have gotten it anyway. Nobody could have bullied me. But if they had mandated that, I would probably have been the one getting hauled off. And now it's showing that I was right. So these control mechanisms, they're calling it, into humans that, in effect, are simultaneously done without our consent and which have killed countless and maimed others. In the purest form, the mass application of COVID-19 nanoparticle injections, or mRNA nanoparticle injections, or COVID-19 injections, to attempt to fuse mankind with technology is an experiment of pure evil on mankind. At its logical endpoint, it is the end of mankind and a genocide. Wow. That is the Alliance of Indigenous Nations. They had an international tribunal regarding it. That is wild, isn't it? And then Dr. Paul Alexander gets into the risks of human genome and shedding. Dr. Andrew Zywick, who's a tribal practitioner, also testified with peer-reviewed articles that support the finding that COVID-19 injections and all mRNA injections, and I agree with that, all mRNA. I don't care if it's COVID. I don't care if it's for your heart. I don't care if it's for cancer vaccines. I don't care what it is. mRNA injections are biological and technological weapons designed to harm, not protect or to cure us. That mRNA technology makes chemicals that it's attached to, or components that it's attached to, pass through the blood-brain barrier more easily. So even drugs that, I mean, why would a heart drug, why would we need mRNA technology, a heart drug going into the brain? You know, you can make an argument, since the brain controls everything, that somehow it affects the constriction of the vessels, the rate of the heart. You can make these arguments, but there's many ways to do it. Now, where do you hear this? So these mRNA injections have been the cause of and are a major contributing factor to a wide range of diseases, including but not limited, get ready guys, neurocognitive issues such as MECFS, no idea what that is. What's make sure I get it right there. What is MECFS? MECFS. So this is what they're saying. The tribe has concluded the mRNA. Oh, wow. Myalgic encephalomyelitis, or chronic fatigue syndrome. That's when the nerves cause muscle pain. And you basically, it's a long-term chronic illness that causes extreme fatigue and doesn't improve with rest and gets much worse after physical and mental activity. And they call it post-exertional malaise. So they have related chronic fatigue syndrome to this mRNA. But listen, there's more. Also, it contributes to dementia, psychosis, brain fog, cardiovascular concerns such as arrhythmia, stroke, myocardial infarction, obstetrical and gynecological concerns like uteroplacental insufficiency, spontaneous abortion, irregular menses, heavy bleeding, systemic problems like multi-system inflammatory syndrome, which I've said so many times. Multi-system inflammation is the cause of so many different conditions. Well, inflammation is. When you're talking multi-system inflammation, you're talking about all your organs, multiple organs are being inflamed, not just one. Chronic fatigue and pain, hematological and oncological concerns, such as coagulopathy, meaning blood clots, and increased advanced cancer development, and much more. Now, let me say something about this, because I also recently did some research on this for that same friend. And she follows a guy on X, Michael Holscher or something. He's a pharmacist. And you got to watch him big time because he misinterprets. He doesn't look at a lot of the studies from an independent and even a rational standpoint. I told you last time, he used a self-reporting study on cancer of people that were also taking all kinds of chemo and radiation and concluding that ivermectin was curing it. Well, you can't do that. Okay, it's got to be double blind. They can't be on other drugs because it could be the other drugs doing it. So, so basically, then the thing about the cancer and the vaccines, he posted a study there, and of course, he says it's conclusive. Well, it's not conclusive. And let me see, it was a huge study, and it was in Korea. I don't know if I can pull what I said to her up, because I had to look at them because he hypes a lot of stuff. I told her. All right. So here's why I had to read the whole article. This is what I told her. It starts out with the oncogenic potential of SARS-CoV-2 has been hypothetically proposed. Now, this is not the guy. This is not this Michael Holscher. This is the actual study. When you go in and read the study, this is what the study found. It says it starts out with the oncogenic potential of SARS-CoV-2 has been hypothetically proposed. Oncogenic meaning cancer potential. But real-world data on COVID-19 infection and vaccination is insufficient. So that tells me that people have been proposing a cancer link, but the data is insufficient, right? It's been proposed, the oncogenic potential, but the data is insufficient. So that's what I mean about how this guy skews things. But I did go through the actual results of the study. And I posted some, I gave her some stuff. I actually made graphics out of them. And it was very, very clear in these studies, without other adjustments, that especially females that were vaccinated have a significant higher risk of various cancers than the unvaccinated. The men also have a higher risk. The vaccinated men also have a higher risk over unvaccinated men. So there's a really strong connection there, guys. And now we have the indigenous people coming out and other doctors studying this. And so there's more data. She just gave me 2 studies to review, and that one that she gave from this guy, and that one wasn't really good. It was promising because when I looked at who funded it, it looked like the industry was paying for that. They were using terminology like COVID-19 is a fatal disease and not a bioweapon. So right off the bat, that tells you that somebody who's all about, the vaccine is funding that. And then it said, with the rapid development of COVID-19 vaccines, the fatal complications caused by COVID-19 have been alleviated. So you see what I'm saying? Who's to say it was the mortality was from the COVID-19? It was from the accumulation, it was from the remdesivir, it was from being put on a ventilator, and your lungs just couldn't, they were off so long, they lost their muscle tone and they couldn't come back. Just a million other reasons. And so you couldn't really, it was a very skewed study. It was biased. And even in this biased study, they're showing these numbers, which they can't avoid, that showed a higher incidence of cancers of numerous kinds. I want to say something like, it was a lot. It was like 20 different cancers, maybe 30 different cancers that had higher incidence in vaccinated people. So that's the thing. Now, Den is back on the SCOTUS decision, has already determined when you change DNA, you are no longer human. Oh, really? I hadn't heard that one. Therefore, no longer are you eligible for human rights. That kind of sound, SCOTUS said that? Let's see that. That sounds like misinformation. And let me tell you why I think that is so. A very good friend of mine and member on the channel here sent me something. He says, you really need to look at this guy. And it was kind of like a Robin Leach thing where this guy was sitting on yachts and said, he said, oh, he's really got it. This guy is really a cool guy. He's got a great, a great look on life and knows how to enjoy life and all this stuff. And he said, I really like this guy a lot. And I looked, and right on the bottom of the image, it said AI. So then I went back, as I always do, and I confirmed with Grok I use to confirm AI content mostly. And it came up for all the reasons that it was AI, and it called it out. So that's how good the stuff is. People think that they're seeing the truth, and they're not. And it's really easy to make a talking head saying that. So let's just say, of course, it copied more than I wanted. Did SCOTUS determine when you change DNA, you are no longer human? Let's see. Where did that come from, Dan? It was years ago. Okay, let's see. Bondgate coming. Oh, I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying. And our home prices. That's one reason our home prices skyrocketed because of the. But I could see that because of these myalgic encephalometic chronic fatigue. Yep, exactly, Helen. And that, if you did you hear me when I said that that's linked? That document by the indigenous people declaring it a bioweapon is linked on the ex-pharmacist community board where it says posts. If you go in there, I'm putting stuff on there now. So let's see if they made that decision. It says no. This is just a cursory look, and it may be true if we word it differently. The U.S. Supreme Court has never ruled that changing a person's DNA means they are no longer human. The claim is not true. I suspected that, and let me tell you why. Your body, your DNA changes all the time. It sloughs off, and new ones come, and a disease causes a change in the DNA. So they're saying now, if you have a disease where the DNA was altered in some way, that you're no longer human. That sounds like something that's not real to me for that standpoint. The closest case, here you go, is an Association for Molecular Pathology versus Myriad Genetics in 2013. Does that sound about right? And it was a unanimous decision. The court said, naturally occurring human genes, DNA as it exists in the body, cannot be patented because they are a product of nature. However, synthetic or modified DNA cannot be patented. Okay, so this was a strict patent law case about whether companies could own the rights to specific genes linked to breast cancer. It has nothing to do with a person, humanity. So it looks like it was a misinterpretation of that. Let's see again what the exact language was. They already determined. So it didn't say that you weren't human. What it just said was that synthetic DNA cannot be patented, that it is not human, and it can't be. So in a way, yeah, but they're talking about synthetic, not necessarily altered DNA. So I hope that helps. Yeah, what's everybody's housing market doing there? Bondgate coming soon. I hope so. Where would that be? Would that be federal or state levels, I wonder? Because you have to remember that even though all this stuff is going on federally, now that he's pushing everything down to states, states are making a lot of their own decisions as well. So in Florida, what I can tell you is our home doubled in price over a period of, we've owned it like 4 or 5 years. It doubled in price, and now it's back down to what we paid for it 5 years ago. So that's this particular pocket of Florida. That's not all over, but this area of central, actually it's southwest Florida, has had a significant drop, and it hasn't recouped. You know, as long as I'm not upside down, I'm okay with that. You know, my bad for not selling it and reinvesting it when it was worth twice the money. Problem is, there's the area that I want to move back to hasn't dropped in price. So it's dropping. I can't say that it's dropping, but the cheapest home I found, way inland, is about 500,000 right now. So that's still a little more than I want to pay at this point in my retirement years. So yeah, prices all around the nation, and kind of a weird thing. We get this real estate thing that they track the sales in the area, and of course in Florida, seasonal is a big part of it. But what she did was which is a common thing that realtors do, they track the sales, and our sales actually went up last month, which was odd. They dropped late the second half of last year, and they began coming up again this year. The number of sales, but not the square foot price. So the prices are down, and people are buying up Florida, is what I'm seeing. And maybe that's why Trump is trying to stop this foreign nationals from being able to buy all these investment properties. It's probably a real good thing. Okay, so let's see. So what else you got, guys? You got anything else you want to talk about? Hit me up if you do. I'm going to be doing the medbed thing with Dan's emails soon. Let's since we're still there, and I think this is critical. Key West, yeah. Key West is cool. It's not as crazy as they make it sound. Key West had a really tough financial problem. Tim and I spent a week there for our anniversary about 2 years ago, maybe 3 now. And a lot of the stores were closed. A lot of the storefronts were closed down. And we talked to someone. And in fact, a friend of mine that had a pearl company, she makes pearl necklaces, freshwater pearl necklaces. She moved out of there up to the St. Augustine area. So apparently something with Key West is making it a little different. I love Key West, but here's the reason I would never go there. Because when there's a hurricane, it's virtually impossible unless you have a plane to get off the island quickly. If you want to be on a key further up, but Key West is the rockin' town. That's the cool place. But I have another good friend of mine, Red, who moved up to the 30A area, Blue Mountain Beach near Destin. They moved from there because she said they were in Key West, and she actually put up a video where they were going through a hurricane there, and they couldn't leave. And they had a lot of damage, and after that hurricane, they moved to North Florida. So that's the problem. I love Key West to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. Okay, let's see. Somebody keeps popping in and out. Let's see. So we were talking about that, the risk to human genome and shedding by another doctor. I don't know if that one's as good. Gene-altering agents are bioweapons. So the tribunal accepted the evidence and concluded that COVID-19 nanoparticle injections, the whole gamut, all of them, and the COVID injections, the mRNA and so forth, and the others, are gene-altering agents that fit the definition of a biological and technological weapon of mass destruction. Tell you, these Native Americans, they don't mess around, they lay it out. And that's also, I don't know if we still have Han here, but that's the premise of this case against about Gates and Pfizer and the I think it's Prime Minister, I'm not sure, of the Netherlands, about this case with them with the COVID-19. That was the exact thing that these experts came up with there that they want to testify about, is that they came out with all of it, and they point blank said it's a bioweapon. It's going to come, guys. It's just, there's so many people that you have to convince that. Imagine this, okay? Some of these people trusted these politicians, and not only politicians, podcasters, TV personalities. They trusted them more than they trust their own family members sometimes. And so it's really a hard sell when you have to convince them that they've been betrayed, especially when the media is still allowing them to say that they're, they're on point and they did nothing wrong. So I do understand why it's such a hard sell to get these people to wake up. And sadly, some of them are going to have to become sick and die, when that happens. It's already happened in a lot of them, and they're just not catching on. So what do you do? And it's going to happen. This is just another doctor's speecher, and other published articles talks about DNA fragments that are in the shots. Oh, this is good. What kind of DNA? The makers of the vaccines must be presumed to control the ingredients, right? They're supposed to be quality control. I know that. And a peer-reviewed study published in Autoimmunity has confirmed that both Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna's mRNA COVID-19 injections are contaminated with enormous quantities of DNA fragments. Billions to hundreds of billions of foreign DNA per dose. With Pfizer's product uniquely containing the SV40 promoter enhancer. That's cancer, guys. A viral genetic element long associated with changing the cell's genomic DNA and cancer concerns. So the Pfizer one, specifically, they have found SV40 promoter DNA. Basically, that's what's causing cancer in the body. That's something that in the body, when it's inflamed, aggravated, whatever, it causes cancer. The limits on DNA contaminants is due to the fact that we are genetic beings exceeding the levels, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's not important. Fetal harm and purposeful abortificant. Basically, it causes abortion, okay? And they are saying that studies we examined have shown severe harms from the COVID-19 injections during pregnancy. Thorpe et al. Found unacceptably high breaches in safety signals for 37 adverse events for COVID-19 injections in pregnant women and called for an immediate global moratorium on COVID-19 injections during pregnancy. Didn't something happen where they changed the labeling and now they changed it so they're not giving it to infants or whatever young age they were giving it to before? It causes fetal malformation, fetal chromosomal abnormality, cervical insufficiency, premature rupturing of the membranes, premature labor and delivery, fetal cardiac arrest, and stillbirths. And then Dr. Rima Leibau actually jumps into the picture and says that these injections are consistent with the official United States doctrine of depopulation and articulated by Henry Kissinger in his December 10th, 1974 National Security Study Memorandum as adopted by the United States in collaboration with the United Nations. So basically, they are consistent with the doctrine of depopulation, which they banned my video on it. YouTube did, but I have always felt, and I think many of you have felt also, that it was a depopulation. Fire all parliamentarians. Are you over? Where are you, Dan? Aren't you in the U.S.? I thought you were in the U.S. Fire all parliamentarians. You know what I say? I say fire all politicians and let's start over again. And that's what is being proposed. That it's been said a long time ago that as part of Nasera Jacera coming in and all the stuff that's supposed to come in, what they have so many days to hold new elections, a couple months or something, and they have to hold all new elections. And I'm all about it. I'm all about it because what's going to happen by then, a lot of them will be arrested. And if they're not arrested yet, they're going to be exposed for their parts in it. And plus the elections will be, that was another SCOTUS thing about, which I did it in the other video, about Mike Lindell he didn't have to pay or it was actually, it was, what do you call that? Settled. It was a suit that was settled with the Dominion people that were suing him for billions, I think, or millions. So 120 days. Thank you, Dan. From 7/4 to midterms. So, so somebody's saying it's from July 4th. So, I don't have anything about July 4th being Nasera Jacera. I hope not, because we're going to Busch Gardens, which sadly, I just found out, was bought out by Blackstone, but then they went public. So it'll probably be the last time we go there. And we're pretty close. But, right, 4 months from July 4th. I wouldn't count on that July 4th to midterms. Michael Jaco is saying that the midterms are going to be delayed. I didn't really watch it because I make it a point not to, but I do catch their headlines every now and then. And I don't want to report misinformation. And yes, I could, if I had to track down everything all these people said and disprove them, I would have no time to create any content at all. So he's saying, excuse me, that the midterms are going to be delayed. I don't see why, personally. What about New York with all the Democrats? That 4 Democrats just took positions in New York. What do you think that one's about? I don't know. But I still believe that they're rigged, personally, that the elections are still rigged in many places. There's no reason not to believe that, right? So so this was really great. And they've got Eagle Eyes, aka Jeffrey. So apparently there was a letter attached for his input, providing an update on the activities of the indigenous nations of Turtle Island. So, he must have done it for one particular tribe and sent them a letter and updated them on what they were doing. So it's really good. Take a look at that. It's a genuine article. I checked it. And they lay out pretty well. If you want to know what the problems are with the vaccines and you want to tell a loved one, please look at this. You're not going to die if you get COVID. Problem is now, what are they injected with? How can we really say that at this point? I don't know. Can you say somebody that took a vaccine, the COVID vaccine, isn't going to suffer some kind of side effects from it? No, we can't. So DJT pretty much just posted he's been waiting his whole life to destroy communism. I agree. He was really good friends with, and I might lose some of you on this, I don't know, but he was really good friends with JFK Jr., John. I did a video, which will have to come down soon because of the AI voice. I'm working on that, guys, to see if I have to take all of them down. Maybe I can just take some of them down, but their bodies were never found from that plane crash. I did a lot of work on that, and I actually found that the remains that were being studied, I compared a picture of the inside of the cockpit of that and the remains of the parts of the plane that were being reassembled or studied, and they had a piece of the dashboard that was clearly different than the photographs of his plane on the inside of the cockpit. So I am hoping, let's put it that way, I'm not going to say I believe, but I am hoping, I pray that we see him again, that we see JFK Jr. again, and I hope he comes to be our next president, because you're right, DJT, he's not working alone in this, and I've said it before, and I'll oh, really? Air Force One is now the same color as Junior's plane. Well, that's red, white, and blue, isn't it? Isn't that what it was before in the past, before Bush changed it or something? But I think Junior is going to come, and it's weird. You tell me how this happens. There are there's an account on X that says John F. Kennedy Jr., and it's verified. Now, I know you can only pay a couple bucks and get it, but at some level, I think it's one of the higher levels of verification where you do actually submit your identification. So I'm just wondering, I'm hoping that we see him again, because he did say he would revenge his father's death. And no bodies were found. The plane cockpit didn't match. I'm praying that he's still around. Okay, what else we got? We got anything else, guys, that you want to talk about? What am I missing in the news? Anything that we haven't talked about? Let's check. Den's doing good. Oh boy. I just had like 200. Remember I told you they loved that statement about the about this birthright citizenship? Just had 200 notifications of people that liked or shared it. Of course, one person comes and says, and he's right, Americans already blow up plenty of buildings and kill plenty of Americans. I can't argue with that. If we look at 9/11, I just can't argue with that one. So anyway, people are really against this. It's an unpopular ruling for sure, from what I'm seeing. The news, explore news. I'm not a big sports guy, girl. They upheld the late arrival of the mail-in ballots, but they still had to be postmarked by a certain time. Then Nasra Ahmed's federal charges were dismissed, some illegal, I guess, after a January ICE clash. During an ICE raid in Minnesota, the 24-year-old threw an egg at an officer and was charged federally. His charges have been dismissed. So they're allowed to attack federal officers. Big win, Chris, and restraining orders against me have been denied. After attacking me in Minneapolis, the family has been attempting to silence my reporting. So this looks like she's a legit reporter. Okay, so this one says, today's court rulings are clarifying for American voters. There is no conservative Supreme Court. I can't say that, because I think Clarence Thomas is the man. I really do. That guy, he stood up and he almost admonished the Supreme Court over that decision today. There is no Republican-led Congress. I don't know. I think that's a little, there really is no GOP. Well, I've always said that the deep state owns both sides, both wings on the same bird. It only makes sense, guys. If you're going to buy somebody to control the world, aren't you going to buy both parties? You created both parties. You're going to buy both parties. So there's people within both parties. It's run by a uniparty that can't be voted out of office. I'm not going to say that. It is a banana republic. It became that way. And dark times ahead. No. I don't buy that. I completely don't buy that darkness. It's now birthright. Tourism is a constitutional right for 8 billion people on Earth right now. So they're right there. They're calling Amy Coney Barrett. Oh, listen to this one. A student who was suspended from school for using the term illegal alien will receive $20,000 in a public apology. Yes, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. The closest known black hole on Earth is slightly over 1,500 light years away. I wonder. Because you saw that last thing with Jen Han telling Dan that they are preparing Mars for our arrival in 2 years. And that was a year ago. So we should be on Mars next year. At least it will be ready for us. Whether we make it or not is a whole nother thing. So I don't know about that. I get so upset when these girls, they follow me on this and they are selling their bodies online, or not selling it, but their whole worth is in their physical appearance. And I find that very sad. We have to do something with our children and learn to teach them to love the spirit inside of themselves, because I see too many young kids that find their entire self-worth in their physical beauty. And that's real sad. The Who sucks. Yeah, Tony, well, look at Tedros. Okay, that guy is downright evil. I think he was part. I think he was part of the whole COVID thing. Again, that's only my opinion, but I think he was part of it. John, I believe John is too. Den says that John Solomon is working directly with the White Hats, and I certainly believe he is too. And who's the other one that we've known about for a long time? Scavino. Dan Scavino is constantly posting these military from inside the plane, these military bombings and stuff. And whether he's got the video, but even to have access to that video has to be pretty good stuff. He's posting stuff that nobody has. So I think Scavino also is working directly with the White Hats. Sarah Carter. She's a lawyer, right? Sarah Carter. You think she is? I hadn't picked up on that. But I do notice that a lot of politicians seem to be clueless. Here's the thing. MTG, she was she's an investigative journalist. And she's Fox News contributor. Okay, I don't know her. Born in California, the Sarah Carter Show. We'll have to check her out. Okay. I don't know where I was going with that. JFK Jr. and Trump were the playboys of New York. I think you're right on that too. They were like this. And then when you look and you search the AIs, they barely knew each other. It just ticks me off because we know there's photographs of them, but yet it says they barely knew each other, but out of the clear blue sky, some of these AIs will say, I'll ask a question. Were they friends? No, there's no confirmed evidence that they were friends, but Donald Trump Jr. was very close friends with Epstein. Who asked you? I'm constantly saying, please be responsive to the question I asked and don't throw your opinions in there. So they were, man, two of the most eligible bachelors, huh? They were. So, okay, so let's see. Anything else? I'm okay with if you guys are, but I don't want to bore you. So if when we get down to a couple, I'll cut it off. But right now we'll keep going. Turkey's hypocrisy exposed by Israeli recognition of Armenian genocide. Wow, Turkey had a genocide. And there's another one. Who's the guy that was in? Wolfie's come to say hi. Who's the guy that was in Tool Time or whatever that show was? I actually saw him one time when I was living up on 30A, and he was shopping in one of the stores there. He says, "You want me to take the damn vaccine? Mail it to me, and I'll vaccinate myself and mail back the paperwork stating I'm fully vaccinated. You trust me, right? Just like mail-in voting. Is that not the truth? That is the truth." Pico, what are you doing, Pico? Uh-oh, am I losing? Thought I lost my internet there for a second. I don't know anything about LeBron. Why is Norway trending, guys? Who knows? Oh, this is so odd. Elite athletes in Norway are refusing American food. I had a Norwegian exchange student. They're some of the most gracious people I've ever met in my life. Yeah. One time I was there and I thought I was eating a hush puppy and I threw it in my mouth and it was a fish ball and I don't eat fish and I thought I was going to toss my cookies right there. So I don't like Norwegian food either, but so what? Why is this an issue? And it says Texas rolled out the red carpet for Norway. The Nordic country's soccer team landed at Dallas-Fort Worth. And I see. So what they did is the Dallas law enforcement were at the airport and they were sitting there like they were in the Viking ships, you know, remember those long front things? And they were going like this and moving back and forth like they were rowing for Norway. You know, I think this is great for the, and they also did it in Oslo. It wasn't my favorite city there, but I've been to Oslo. So they also did that same rowing thing in Oslo. I don't know about you guys, but this World Cup seems to be bringing the world together. It really does. You know, I've seen just the opposite of they don't like our food. They love our poisoned food, is what I've been hearing, is that they, you know, they're in these fast food places and they're getting the addicting components of these fast food things, and they're just snarfing them down. They love them. We talked enough about SCOTUS. Cleveland, what's going on in Cleveland, guys? Cleveland, welcome to Democrat-run Cincinnati. Bunch of monsters beat a disabled person. I heard about this one, in a wheelchair in broad daylight in Cleveland. Can you even believe that? So sad what has happened to our children. Kavanaugh is trending, and I'll bet you that's because of the decision. Kavanaugh leaves the back door open for Congress to pass laws saying babies born to foreigners temporarily in the U.S. are not citizens. So he did have a split, but he voted anyway against banning it. But it says he concurred in the judgment and also in the dissenting part. That's a tough one, how you do both. You concur on both sides. He said that Executive Order 14160 establishes new exceptions for birthright citizenship for children born to foreign citizens, unlawfully or temporarily in the country. The court today holds that the order violates the 14th Amendment. I respectfully disagree with the court's constitutional holding. In my view, the executive order does not violate the 14th Amendment, but the order does contravene a federal statute. Congress could, consistent with the 14th Amendment, and that's what we said before, amend or otherwise enact new legislation establishing exceptions to the birthright citizenship for children born to foreign citizens. So they don't have to completely go, and this is what Trump is saying too, is they don't have to completely go and overturn this SCOTUS decision. They can just go in and who's Clooney? Who's Clooney bloodline? Oh, where do you get this stuff, Dan? Let's take a look. I love learning, so I don't mind at all. What is the Clooney bloodline? I have the original Bloodlines of the Illuminati, and I don't remember that name. It's pulling it up for us, so we'll see. Yeah, I mean, the Kennedys were part of the bloodline. Trump was not one of the names, although people say he has the blood. But that, oh, look at Pico. Hi, Pico. That is a great book, but it's gotten so ridiculously expensive. I bought it when it was $30 or $40, and now it's like $1,000. It's by, if you can get a used copy, Fritz Springmeier, Springmeir, Fritz Springmeier. And he was part of the Illuminati, and he got out. And he wrote a book about the bloodlines of the Illuminati. And in that, he speaks about each family and the various people that have the bloodlines and so forth. It's really an interesting book. But like I said, it's really too expensive if you can even get it right now. Let me just check a quick thing. Let me see if I can find it for you. Amazon. Bloodlines of the Illuminati. In fact, it's funny because I bought that book for my dad for his birthday before he died, and that's the book that woke my dad up. He thought I was crazy before that. Okay, they've broken it up into volumes now. You can get it online in Kindle. Oh, here's the original. Yeah, that's the one I have with the red bloodlines of the Illuminati, the red and orange. See options. Let's see that one. Okay, that one right now used is 94.27, the copy that I have. But they've broken it up into parts, and the parts are about $20 a piece. So you can buy part 1, part 2, volume 1, volume 2. It looks like there might be about 4 volumes of it, it looks like. Yeah, there's 4 volumes. So either way, it's $80 if you want the whole thing. But you want the one by Fritz Springmeier, because there's other ones about the Illuminati that I haven't read and I can't recommend. Hi, Shelley. I was wondering where you were, but I know, didn't you say you had something to do today anyway? I understand that. So we talked about the SCOTUS decision on the birthright citizenship, and also on the other decisions they came down with, as far as the fact that POTUS has the ability to fire the FTC commissioner, but not a board member of the Fed, even though they both have the same language in their laws. They pretty much, they interpreted the same law 2 different ways for 2 different agencies. And of course, the one that they interpreted it as the most lenient was the Fed. So I still think something big is coming down with the Fed. Personally, I think there's an excellent chance when they go into Fort Knox, there's not going to be any gold. That's, you know, remember, it's almost been a year now. Trump kept talking about the Fort Knox. Maybe I'll just have to go visit it. It was when Doge came out, at the very beginning of his term. He talked about it. So about he's going to go visit it. And I kind of think that something's going to happen with it. I think it's just heading us in the direction of that happening. But the Fed must go down. There just is no option for it. If you don't understand how they work, first of all, they are one of those independent agencies. They say that the AIs will tell you that they do have regular audits. The IRS is nothing more than a collection arm for the Federal Reserve. And they say that the Treasury Department audits them. Well, you know, it's kind of like the fox guarding the hen house, in my opinion, right? And still, nobody can validate what happened, what the Treasury's conclusion was. But the way it works is, the Fed prints up money at their discretion, right? They just make money. There's nothing behind it. Then they lend that money to banks. And those banks then lend it out to people for loans and so forth. And they make money on it. And the Federal Reserve is supposed to get interest from these banks that they give our money to. And that money is supposed to go back into the U.S. Treasury. Well, they have been at a deficit, in spite of the fact that they're building that remodeling thing on the Fed, but they've been at a deficit, and they've given us no money. Out of all this money they're printing and loaning out to banks with interest, it's been, well, let me give you an exact amount. How long has it been that the Fed has not made interest deposits to the Treasury? It was a long time. It was more than it should be. Let's put it this way, that they haven't been given our money. Hang on there. Let me see. I'll go over here while that's running. Yeah, you know, and I love that. Okay, what about George Clooney? George Clooney, married to that woman. I forget what her name is, but she's isn't she bloodline, Illuminati bloodline? 500,000 Fed employees not paying taxes. You know, when I worked for the state, I envied them so bad. I have hated paying them from day one. From the time I worked at Burger King at 16 years old, I hated having to pay them. And you're right, federal employees are not paying. So here they are, right? They've got their NGOs. And this, I want to make this clear, guys. I worked with a lot of federal agents, and not all of them are bad. The large majority of them are very good. I knew a guy that worked with customs, right? And he wanted a disability, permanent disability. Now, this guy was with ATF. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the guy that told me about it was with ATF for 30 years, and then he went into customs criminal. But he told me about this guy in his office that showed up for work naked, holding an umbrella over him. And, of course, everybody's freaking out. Come on, you got to go. Come on, get dressed. He says, they've stripped me of everything, and now I'm just sitting here watching the shit fall on me. And that's how he got his disability. He got out on a sight disability. So it's not all of the federal employees, guys. It's the ones that are in these alleged, elected, I say, chosen positions. So it's not, where we go one, we go all is absolutely right. And Han knows that. The world knows that. It's just the liberals that don't know that, and the illegals. But you're right. Where we go one, we go all. So anyway, it's not them, it's these federal employees. So in addition, these scumballs, in my opinion, IMHO censors, these people, some of them are stealing money from these NGOs by these positions. That's one way. Who knows what the other ways are? Maybe the illegals are kicking them under the table. That's possibly something that's happening too. But so they're getting all that money, and they're not paying taxes on them. Let's make sure. Do congressmen pay taxes? Congressmen pay taxes, or can they opt out? And that is an opt out, like anybody's going to opt out of it. Or can they opt out like federal employees? Because I may be wrong there. Maybe they're supposed to pay taxes. I don't know I haven't ever looked that up, to be honest with you. Federal income tax so they must pay their taxes on their congressional salaries, like every other. There is no exemption or opt out for them. Good. They pay these payroll taxes on their salaries. It's been required since '84. Federal employees. Now here's what it says. Most regular federal employees cannot opt out of taxes either. Now, I was with the government from '88 to 2003, and they could. So they're saying that since '84, they couldn't. Some very specific groups, certain religious exemptions for Social Security exist, but these are rare and not available. I don't buy that. Bottom line is Congress and senators pay taxes on the pay that, like everyone else, claims that they are exempt are a common myth. Oh, okay. So there were 2017 tax reform changes, which is probably when they started making when did federal employees lose the opt-out option? I know that they were. I absolutely know that they were opting out. CERN shut down yesterday. That was temporary, I take it. Was it temporary, Dan? This said, for new hires. Okay, there's the rub, then. For new hires in '84, they stopped it. Today, nearly all federal employees pay into... Okay. They pay into Social Security and are eligible for benefits based on their federal service. I didn't ask about Social Security. What do they call the regular... I'm talking about federal income taxes. We always knew they had to pay Social Security. CERN has been supposed to be for 4 years. And now it's down until October. Oh, this is really good. You know what that, now you tell me if you think the same thing. Okay. Oh, okay. I see. So Shelley says it's for 4 years that CERN's been shut down. I'm going to put this on my little notepad because I want to maybe do something on this, guys. CERN shut down. This is amazing because that's always been one of the reasons that I think has been holding up the technology, is that these people could use CERN against us. So I want to find out what the official reason is and so forth. Is it 4 years or till October? Let's see. We can remedy that one real quick, I think. How long is CERN shut down for? Isn't that something, how the same exact question, and we get so many different responses from people that hear it. Okay. Guess who's the winner? Ding, 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 ding. And everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's going to be happy. It's not till October. The anticipated date is 4 years from now. You got it right there, Shelley. 4 years. The goal is to restart the... I wonder if this has anything to do with the quantum EO that he just passed. The goal is to restart the upgraded Large Hadron Collider around 2029 or 2030, right before the shift is supposed to be complete, with initial operations possibly starting in 28 to 29 for some systems. So it's the LHC basically is what's shutting it down, and that's great because they're going to blow us up with that thing if we don't take it away from them. During this time, CERN's other accelerators may operate on adjusted schedules. So you guys are possibly both right, okay? Because it says the main LHC, Large Hadron Collider, is offline for extensive work, installing new magnets, upgrading detectors, improving cryogenics, and more. Guys, it's coming. It is so coming. This is a normal part of CERN's long-term maintenance cycle. They have had previous long shutdowns. Science continues through data analysis from previous runs. So you're both kind of right. It looks like that they can. I know, whoop whoop is what I'm saying. It looks like they'll be shut down. The LHC will be shut down for close to 4 years, which it shouldn't be in their hands anyway. And other operations may resume in October is what it looks like. I think it does. So Shelley said, I think it does, and I think our weather will change from it going down. Really? I don't know. We know that HARP is not is being used by the university right now, but I know they have other modification, weather modification antennas around the world. I know they do. I think it does, and I think our weather will change from it going down. Let's see. Will our weather change from the... Where did you get that? Did you hear that on the news, Shell, or from a podcaster? No, the Large Hadron at CERN will not change our weather. Why people ask this? During major shutdowns or upgrades like the current long shutdown 3, which started yesterday, some online theories claim that the LHC affects weather, causes earthquakes, or influences global events. Oh, okay. Well, you might be right. They might be modifying the weather there because it says, again, this is a no scientific basis. It's a particle accelerator. I've seen a hurricane, a tornado started in a vacuum tube by particles, so by a particle accelerator. So this is BS. It's buried 100 meters underground. It smashes tiny particles. We know that at high speeds inside of a vacuum tube. Its energy is focused on an extremely small scale, far too tiny to affect the atmosphere. So I believe that Grok is blowing smoke up our butts at this point. CERN has operated it for over 15 years, and there is no credible evidence That's what you get from Grok. They always say there's no credible evidence. You know, I think I would put, you know, did Charles Manson kill those people? And it would say there's no credible evidence that he killed it. No, he directed it. You know, I mean, it's just like that. You got to watch it. So it says it's for upgrades. If you're seeing specific claims online, feel free. Yeah. Oh, so how did you know that if you don't watch it? So you heard from like a podcaster or somebody. Okay. Well, let's see. I'm gonna do some research on that, Shelley, because I think it's a really good topic. CERN shutdown and weather manipulation. Okay, so that's on the list. Oh, no, I told you guys about that already. Oh, Shelley, I know that you'll be interested in this. Grok is full of, yeah, I know it is. Shelley, you'll be interested in this. I filmed part of the video on the water purifiers, how we purify our water. It's not out yet because even though it's filmed, I still have, it's only filmed with the Berkey. I also want to go over options for people that don't have the Berkey. So, or don't want to get the Berkey. The thing I like about it is that no electricity. You can put any kind of water in it. You know, I like it because in an emergency shutdown situation, the Berkey will have water here. So that's why I like it. But that's filmed and should be the next one coming up on the lab. Okay, so that's that. So what do you got? We got more people coming in and out. Say hi, guys, if you like. You don't have to be shy. Still got more notifications. All right, now somebody about Kavanaugh saying that the back door for Congress to pass the laws, saying that babies born to foreigners are temporarily in U.S. I think it does because before I even read that, I had done some research on it, and I found out that Congress did carve exemptions for that law. So why can't they carve exemptions now? You know what I'm saying? Or that the birthright citizenship doesn't apply to these people. You don't have to change the entire amendment. You just have to be a little more specific in your language. I think it can happen, but here's this person says, from what I've read, this isn't true. The ruling today closes the constitutional route and treats birthright citizenship as a constitutional requirement. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Any future law from Congress attempting to deny citizenship on these grounds would be ruled unconstitutional by the same 5-justice majority, if it even got that far. If Sotomayor retires or dies, or if, who's the other one? If the, I forget her name, the black one that Biden, if she's overturned, her appointment is overturned because the auto pen signed it without permission, then I could see her going too. But it says if she retires or dies, then this becomes an option as long as the Republican with the spine is in office and the Senate doesn't sabotage the new SCOTUS pick. So, you know, it's the same old games that we've had forever. That's why I really think it's important to, and he's doing it. I can see every move that he does, I can see where it's leading somewhere. And so I believe that Trump knew this was going to happen. They expected it, and that it can be carved out. And I also believe that this moving things to the states, like abortion rights and all that, was ingenious. Why should the entire country pay for one state of liberals? You know, I mean, it's just crazy. Pay for their health care. You want to pay for, you know, transgender operations, and you pay for it, okay? But don't make me pay for it. So I tend to think that is all part of the plan. And I also think that this cutting down and getting rid of these different voting districts that they got rid of. They tried to change. They really didn't decrease the size, but a lot of them had their seat. It did. A lot of them had their seats taken away, didn't they? So I'm all about no big government. And despite what liberals say, they're pushing more, and they're upholding more and more money going to these politicians that are life politicians. So I'm all about cutting down. Cut them out. I'm good. Have a governor in front of every one of them. I don't care. But just don't rig our elections, you know. That's where I run in. I know from back a long time ago. Aberdeen, South Dakota had 131 mile per hour winds yesterday. Wow. Beautiful state, too. I'm in Brookings at my brother's house visiting, and we're like 40 to 45 minutes away. Crazy, because we had sunshine and horrible humidity all day long. There's my sweet husband again. Hi, sweetie. Wow. South Dakota is an amazing, beautiful place. I used to ride motorcycles. Tim doesn't want to, and I respect that. I don't like to drive either. I'd rather be sitting on the back waving or putting my arms out and whatever. But it's, if you ever have a chance to go up to Crazy Horse or Mount Rushmore, amazing, guys, amazing. Tony says LBJ loved weather mods. LBJ was really weird, wasn't he? They say that he had people, he would go into the bathroom and be doing a BM on the toilet, and he'd have his secretary in there taking notes. There's lots of reports he was really disgusting person. High vibes and dream your biggest dreams in the day ahead. Absolutely, Den. Absolutely. Kagan. I don't know if there's anything we can do about her. Wasn't she appointed legally? And she's pretty young, so I think we're stuck with her for a while. The only way to do it with her is to flip her, I think. Yeah, it really is. The Black Hills are absolutely beautiful. Oh, it blew over the wind turbines. There's Trump's big complaint, right? Killing the birds, and what are we going to do with all that? And the weird thing is, I have to say, when I was in the Netherlands, they have completely different windmills. They use a lot of windmills there, but it's not those metal armed things that we have. That they're a completely different looking windmill. They're not those skinny, tall things that are susceptible. We have a lot of, you know, everybody. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm so thankful to have been born in this country, but I've traveled enough that I know that I've learned to appreciate the differences among people and cultures. And that's the mindset you need to travel, is that, you know, I never really wanted to go to Israel, but since we've had Susan on the channel, and it's like the middle of the night for her over there, she has a hard time getting on these lives, and you know, I have to do what I have to be awake for them, so I can't do them in the middle of the night. But I want to visit Israel. They have had that dome to protect them from off-world invasions for a long time. And well, not only off-world invasions, but from incoming missiles and stuff. And they've had that Haim, I forget who he was, but he's been exposing, he was big in government. Let me tell you, it sucks when you get old, guys, but I have to, I was like this even when I was young and in state. I put so much in there that Haim, oh, he was in charge of Haim Ashed, right? He was the former Israeli space chief, and he has been saying for years and years that there are aliens, and that he actually said, here you go, here's a good quote by him. Former Israeli space chief says aliens exist, and Trump knows about it. A galactic federation has been waiting for humans to reach a stage where we will understand what space and spaceships are. Is that just amazing? You know, it's been all over, and they have just suppressed it with lies in the media. When you own the information, you can spin it any way you want. So he's saying that Trump is. And another thing is, I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but let me just check, make sure nobody's here. It's beautiful out there in the Black Hills. Yep. Well, here's the thing, Dan. I don't know if you know who Elena Denon is, but she is the emissary of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Let me make that clear. Not the Galactic Federation of Light. I believe that to be a counter intel by the CIA, but the Galactic Federation of Worlds is the real deal. These are the ones that are helping us. And there's other agencies too, but that's the one you're going to be hearing the most about. And we were told that those portable nukes were removed and removed in 2021. So we were told that this planet is nuke-free since 2021. I know that back a long time ago, we were told that one of the problems were that we got most of them, but they were concerned about some suitcase portable nukes. And now when you say nuke plants, that implies that you're saying it's being manufactured there, right? As opposed to the ones that in the suitcase. Is that what you're saying? And, you know, here's the thing. We have to make a decision on what we believe in. Now, I believe in the Galactic Federation of Worlds because of that video that I did, and I can link that too. I was going to link another video, but the event, I'll figure out what the other one was in a minute. But we were told ahead of time that we would see a display show of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. This was 2.5 years ago. Oh, they powers. Okay, so okay. That makes sense, but they're not weapons then. Okay, so Den says that these portable nuke plants are not weapons; they're power. But anyway, so that makes sense, and they're for a data center or other uses as power. I can believe that. I certainly can, and I think I want to look into those portable nuke plants. So anyway, we go there, and we were promised that we would see an aerial display by the Galactic Federation of Worlds. And while we were there, I have a video online about it that I will link in this. That it's more than just about it. I have the video of these ETs. It's my third time that I've actually seen UFOs, but this one was coordinated. We were told on this night this would happen. How does that happen, right? And there were lower ones, and the lower ones we could see TR3Bs there. And you know, they don't just come out. You know, I mean, they don't put the TR. I have not heard of the TR3Bs coming out on some kind of aerial show. But then there were ones that were way, way high up. We could barely see them. But she said, okay, they're going to flash the lights now. And she was on a phone. She was on a cell phone. And she said to us, Elena said, now they're going to flash the lights. And I'll be darned, guys, if they didn't flash the lights. And so that, when you go through something like that, and you see something like that, you know that you're dealing with the genuine article. So when Elena says they're gone, I believe they are. And I believe that's what happened to our dear Dan also, is that for the ones that are still on here that haven't heard already, he had a blueprint for the free, he had finished the frill generator, which is a free energy generator that he was working on with crystals and copper wires and stuff. And he had put the plans online. And he only did it after he secured the core of it so that it couldn't be reverse engineered. And when I went to do the video after his death, just like Tesla, his open source plans are off the internet now. In fact, the whole page, the whole website that it was on has been taken down. So they don't want us to have that free power, guys. They do not want us to have that free power in any sense of the imagination. They still have power. I can see where they still have some power. Can you guys? I mean, like, the prime example was what they did last year when the Federation which I believe was the Federation, and Trump kind of said they know what that is. Remember all the orbs came out and the drones, they called them. They were not drones, they were TR-3Bs up there. But they first confused everybody and told everybody about it, and they couldn't stop them because basically they can go invisible at any time. So people were shooting at them and stuff, but they still couldn't. We were outmanned. What did they do of all the things? Remember the strange fog? That was I'm fairly sure that was an important element in the disclosure of UFOs when that happened, that Christmas. That was actually Christmas 2024 before Trump took office. And we haven't seen it again. So I still think they have significant power, and that's why we don't have it. But step by step, we're going to see them getting weaker and weaker. And when the mass arrests happen, that's it. It's going to go down like wildfire after that. I truly believe that. So anything else that you guys want to talk about? Tell me. If not, I haven't had lunch. I did. I had a little bit of ricotta cheese. So that was a good thing. But let me know if there's anything else. If not, we'll say goodbye. And then there's Pico. Pico, say goodbye. Hi, Pico. Do a dance, Pico. You want something to eat? Come on, do your dance. Come on, do the dance, Mommy. Oh, you can't see him. He got out of the frame. He dances. I have to teach him how to. I'll get a piece of chicken next time, and of his nightly chicken, and I'll let him dance for you. So anyway, the same thing. I'm now working on the Clean Living Lab. I still have open videos on Manuka, ginger beer, and potentially adrenal fatigue. And then and they're all in the works. And then on the ex-pharmacist channel, we've got CERN shutdown, and whether it's related to weather manipulation. I'll have a complete SCOTUS rulings for the 29th and 30th coming out. I've got, that's done. Maybe something on Don Jr. I don't know. Nobody seemed interested in him. And then holographs for healing is coming out. Philadelphia experiment, deal with the devil, and coming up very soon, Dan Willis and I, our discussions about med beds. So that's what I've got so far. That's what I've got for you guys today. I love you guys. It's only Tuesday. We got Friday. Norway caught you. What? Oh, hey, there you are, Vixen. Hey, sweetie. No way I caught you. Yes, you did. Hi, beautiful. I was just talking about you. Tim, are you still on? Because Den says hi. I was just talking about you. So you want me to do... You didn't really request it, I don't think. You might have, but I've got a note on here for the Clean Living Lab about doing a video on adrenal fatigue. So if you would like that still, if you want to look at that, let me know. Oh, okay, Vixen, you just spoke to your pastor about your health. These beds have to come. What did your pastor say? I don't understand. Are you going to clean up your diet, girlfriend? Cut the plastics out, if nothing else. That is terrible. Cut those plastics out. And I did a video in the lab also on the oils that you can cut some of these toxins out. Remember, what you put in your body, all of these toxins out, it's true. I would think that your foods might be cleaner than ours over here. Ours are atrocious. You'll see when in the things, but I mean, what did your pastor say? He didn't give you any kind of medical advice or anything. I was born with it in 1977. We didn't use any plastic back then. You don't even eat gluten or dairy. So you're a vegetarian. Are you a whole foods vegetarian and you don't use plastic? Oh, your pastor said leave it to God. Yes, of course. That makes more sense. It's more of a spiritual thing. Oh, you do eat meat, sadly. Okay. All right. So, we've talked about that before. 10%, 9% or less of your diet. When you go over that, the inflammation bumps up dramatically. And I believe that there's a lot of inflammation associated with your condition. with all conditions, with all conditions. So you don't eat gluten or dairy. Well, that's good. But you still eat a lot of meat, sadly. So, you know, you're never going to be perfect, and the body can take some of this stuff. Look at the back of the boxes. Because if you're eating meat, I'm on adrenal supplements again since February, and yes, my I don't know what that natural doc said my entire gut is inflamed. Yeah. All right. Look at the oils video that's on the Clean Living channel as well. If you don't ever use plastics, don't forget when you go to the store and you buy that meat, what's wrapped around that meat? Plastic, right? So plastics are so many places. We treated it, but only thing was that my mucus became clear. So you still have it, it's just not infected. Spirit, is it true about if you put baking soda in water, it'll work your inflammation out of your system? I have never heard that, no. Think of it like this, Shelley. Lots of people come up with their solutions, okay? What baking soda will do, it will alkalinize your gut somewhat, but if you have inflammation in your arteries and stuff, right, just what Vixen said, the baking soda will alkalinize you. But there is discussion about how when it hits the gastric juice, the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and this is what I know from biology, it's neutralized. So when you have to understand what happens is you drink that baking soda, it goes down through the esophagus into the stomach, and as it gets to the lower stomach and starts getting into the upper intestines, that hydrochloric acid is neutralizing it. Acid, alkaline. Acid, baking soda. It neutralizes it. So when it passes through those membranes in the intestines, it's already neutralized. So I don't buy the thing about it being a whole body neutralizer. I don't buy that. Vix, check out Aaron Abik, a Bible scholar who is awake. Oh, that's cool. Cool. That's a good thing. So no, I would say no from a chemistry standpoint, and I'm going to verify this here. Is it accurate that drinking baking soda is neutralized in the stomach acid and absorbed in a neutral state? And does not cause, I'm happy to be wrong, believe me, does not cause widespread alkalinization. Let's see what it says. You guys are great. You know that? Now, it does work for indigestion because it neutralizes that acid. So, yes, it absolutely does. You just have to watch. It's high in salt. You don't want to, if you drink too much of it, it will, oh, there's Pico. Hi, Pico. If you drink too much, it will, it can mess up your electrolyte balance too. So you have to be careful about that because of the sodium in it. So you just things like saying, like if you take Colace, I would always recommend to people take the calcium, docusate calcium instead of the docusate sodium, because it was a well-known fact that people with high blood pressure, the sodium in those stool softeners could elevate their blood pressure. So let's see what it says. Not entirely accurate. So let's see. Here's a clear evidence base. Baking soda is a base. Yes, we know that. In the stomach, it reacts with the stomach acid, hydrochloric acid, to produce salt, water, and carbon dioxide. That's the burping that you feel. This neutralizes the excess stomach acid and can temporarily relieve heartburn or indigestion, just like you said. However, not all of it is always neutralized, especially if you take large doses. Take it on an empty stomach or have reduced stomach acid. So if you take it on an empty stomach or you have hypochloria, then which makes sense. Now, can it cause now, okay, I was wrong. It says it can cause metabolic alkalosis, the blood becoming too alkaline. Some bicarb is absorbed into the bloodstream through the intestines. Excess bicarb raises the blood pH, making the body more alkaline. This is a known medical risk documented in case reports. Symptoms can include muscle twitching, confusion, nausea, high blood pressure, low potassium, and in severe cases, seizure or heart rhythm problems. And that's because of the electrolyte imbalance. Important caveats. Small occasional doses, a half a teaspoonful in water for occasional heartburn, are generally safe for most healthy people and most neutralized and mostly neutralized in the stomach. So a teaspoon. So that's what they're talking about. If you take high doses, or it's on an empty stomach, or you don't have enough acid in your stomach, it can. But if in a normal person, regular or high dose use, it's called an alkaline cleanse, which is daily large amounts. It significantly increases the risk of systemic effects, sodium overload, and electrolyte imbalance. People with kidney problems, heart issues, or certain medications are at much higher risks. Bottom line, baking soda does not stay fully neutralized in everyone. Excess can be absorbed and can raise the body pH. It's not a harmless way to alkalinize the body and can be dangerous if misused. The harmless way is not to eat acidic foods like meats and stuff. That is the harmless way. The meats are very alkaline. And that's one of the reasons why we don't eat them. And I want to make that clear. I'm not a zealot about that. If it's a special occasion, we'll go out and we'll have dinner, and I might eat meat. But at home, we never buy it for ourselves at all, but occasionally. So I'm not a zealot about it. But I started out being clueless about the health benefits of vegetarianism. But then it turned into, the longer I was, it turned into health aspects of it. But I wasn't doing it right, and I became anemic. And that's when I said, okay, well, once in a while, maybe a little piece won't hurt. So we will go out once every month or two and have some. Here it is. Okay, Vic, so I had a name, but I can't remember it. I was on a bit of stomach acid. I was on a bit of stomach acid for a while to help indigestion. It seems our acid's usually too low, and right. And that's another and those are natural components anyway in foods, the betaine and the hydrochloric acid. Well, that's not usually in foods, but, and the pepsin. Pineapple is great for those too. But AH, here it is. AH being, I don't know who that is, but that is right. Hypochloremia. That is what they're saying, that low acid can also cause it. Here's the thing, and it's important to understand. If you have gastric reflux, it's more than just an acidity problem. That valve is supposed to shut. Okay, there's a valve in between your esophagus and your stomach, and that's supposed to close after the food goes through. It opens up, lets it down, and it closes. And in fight or flight syndrome, when we go into fight or flight, right, it tightens up because we're not needing to digest anything. Vixen bought it on the internet. It may be cheap, maybe try it. I don't see anything wrong with trying it, but I think she said that, she puts Celtic salt in her water. Celtic salt, what is Celtic salt? I use the pink Himalayan. What is Celtic salt? But even this is really important, guys, to understand, I think, is that, so it's a sea salt, a Celtic sea salt, okay. It's an unrefined sea salt harvested from coastal regions in France. Good deal. Okay, so it's minimally processed. Regular table salt is highly processed. We went to a seminar one time, and we had one of these doctors, real popular doctor. I forget, a female doctor. And she was talking about the sea salt. And she was saying you had to use this one because the way they get the salt out of the Himalayan pink sea salt, she recommended the pink because of the antibacterial, anti-infective properties of it. But she said they use dynamite to blow it out of the mines. And so there's only one that doesn't do that. I don't know whether they hand chip it or hire little Chinese people to, I don't know what they do, but she was trying to push one particular salt. When I see that, my antennas go up right off the bat. Of course, there's no way to cut everything out. So my point being is, don't ever, health is not, and disease mitigation is not a supplement cure. Okay, there's not one thing. We got to think of these bodies as a symphony, right? There's so many different dynamics going on, so billions of different procedures that are going on in our body at any one moment, billions of neurons. So how can one supplement fix that? And when you do that, instead of making it a holistic type thing, when you do that, just like what that said is adrenal, what you do is you can cause imbalance in other things. What do I think about adrenal extracts? Well, you're eating the animals again, and if they had, if it's a pure extract, okay, I'm for it. If it's a synthesized product in a capsule or something, then I'm not for it. I'm for doing it with my food, everything with my food. And like I said, if you want, we can do a video on adrenal fatigue and ways that we can naturally benefit that. But I'm just not a big person on taking these miracle cures. All they do is drain your pocketbook, and you're still eating the poisons that are causing the problems. So for me, the key is find out what it is. I don't care if it's your food, your water, the plastics, the frequencies. Something is making us sick, guys. Something is making us sick. Oh, okay, from in a capsule form. Well, if it's in a capsule form, then it's not a natural product. It can be extracted, but it's been mixed with fillers and all kinds of things that are used to extract it, probably. Okay, good. Thank you. I wanted to know that, so we'll do a video on that. What you want to look at, I don't know where you're getting that, but you want to ask them how it's extracted, Vixen. Ask them if you're gonna find that information in the oil video. It's the same process. Now, so that you understand, if you see fish oils, because of the nature of fish oils, they're so oily, they don't use the chemical extraction methods. But that's why I want to check. Ashwagandha. Again, I'm not big on them, but my daughter was having problems with what she called ADHD with my grandson. And yeah, I like iHerb. I do like iHerb too. Ashwagandha was effective, slightly effective for stress and so forth in my grandson. But it was not enough to keep him in school. The school forced him. Literally, he was threatened that he goes on the speed for ADHD, the methamphetamine products, or he was kicked out of school. And he's not violent. He never did anything. He's a blabber. Like I said before, he's just a blabber. Yep, all they see is money for all of these miracle cures. Yeah. Now I'm seeing everyone pushing. Yeah. Okay, so here, listen to these X39 patches, right? You're going to love this one. We went to, did nothing for me, right? Okay, but you did get a refund. Here's the thing with the X39 patches. I did a lot of research on them. And the premise of it that they talk about, it's basically crystals, okay? It's chopped up crystals that are in that patch. And so from what Dan taught and so forth, yes, that can increase energy. They do magnify energy. I would never recommend the company, and here's why. When we went out to Colorado, where I told you that event that we went to where we saw the ET show, these girls were robo salespeople trying to push us into this and become distributors. And I mean, you know those people where you can't walk away. Okay, great, thanks, and you're trying to get away, and they won't let you go. And Tim will buy anything if the TV says or somebody says it works. He'll buy anything, or he used to. Okay, and so they had him by their hooks. They wouldn't shut up, and they kept pushing. And I'm walking away, and Tim's still there. So I walk back. I said, "Look, here's the deal." I said, "Tim wants to become a distributor." I said, "This is up to you, Tim. I'll research it and see if I can put myself behind it." I said, "But if it's a bad product, I'm not even going to say anything about it if it looks like it's a total bogus product. And I want nothing to do with it. You're going to have to be in complete charge of it." They all agreed to it, right? Then every Friday they had this big rah-rah, push-it type meeting showing you how to be a salesman, which I'm not. And they got ticked off because I wouldn't get on their training sessions about this stuff. I had done the research. I said it might be worth a try, give it 3 months. Subsequently, and I did have somebody buy it. She had cancer. She died a few months later. And so it was supposed to be given to me. I was supposed to get a commission from her 3 months that she bought it. They ripped me off. They didn't even give me the commission for what I sold. So no, I don't like those people at all. I don't like the pushiness. While it could be a good product, I have not heard anybody so far say that they had responses from it, and they ripped me off. So no, it's all money. It's all money. Yep. And everyone's pushing the X39 and the X49 patches because it's being pushed on them. And the science may be there, but anything that has to push me that hard to sell something, I'm not a salesman, and I don't like strong arm tactics. Let's put it that way. Very aggressive, yes. And exactly, Vixen. They're very, very aggressive. You paid $150 for Band-Aids. That's why I'm saying, so, you know, if they did pay you back, that's good. But that's what I'm saying. It's not one thing. You can put these patches on, and even if the science is good about magnifying energy because there's crystals in them, first of all, they said they were quartz. How do we know? There's no post-production. There's no studies on these things. They could be water inside them. They could be, you know, like you said, a Band-Aid with nothing in them, because there's none of these supplements have any requirement to show or prove that what they say is in them. It could say it's 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. There's nobody testing it to see if there is. Not even the manufacturers are required to test them to see if 1,000 milligrams is in the capsule. I just want you to to understand. Bye-bye, sweetie. I love you, my little drummer boy. You're coming home soon, I guess, huh? So that's why I'm not big on these one things. Get your food supply clean. Quit abusing our bodies. They're poisoning us. Vixen, I want you to go. I know you weren't vaccinated, but on the ex-pharmacist channel, under the posts of on the community boards, when you go there and it says posts, I posted a declaration by the indigenous people, the various indigenous tribes of Canada, and they declared COVID vaccines as a bioweapon. And the thing that's important about it is they went through and they cited all the studies that they cited and why they made that determination. So the indigenous people are real clean, you know what I'm saying? And if these people will push a bioweapon on us, what do you think they're doing in the foods? What do you think they're doing in the foods? And every day I learn more and more about the toxicity of what we're eating. So I'm just saying, I'm big on that. Everybody has a freedom to eat what they want. If you're a meat eater, my recommendations are go down to 9% because it causes inflammation. And of course, they have all the hormones in them, right? The animals have all the hormone byproducts in them. So you're taking a lot of poisons in there, but also just the additives in producing this food, the extraction chemicals and so forth are toxic. So that's why I'm all about eating clean. I'm growing a bunch of food out there as much as I can in my little space. And to me, if I had a disease or a condition, I would I I would clearly, yeah, they're coming with a cancer vaccine now. Yeah, right. And people will take it. People will take it. Where do you see it? I discussed earlier when you weren't here yet, Vixen, about a study that I researched for a friend of mine, because she has this guy she follows, and he's a pharmacist and he's got a huge audience, but he also has a vitamin company, okay, that he sells supplements. And he puts out a lot of his own papers that are just total bogus science, just total bogus science. But then he does cite other people, but he misinterprets it a lot as being conclusive when it's not. What I can tell you is that I reviewed, for my friend, I reviewed an industry study, and it was clearly by the industry, by the language that was going on. And that industry study couldn't avoid the numbers that clearly vaccinated people, and the women are the worst, have a much higher rate of cancer. And when you look at that paper that I published on the community board, they went through the cancer, the proof of the cancer, carcinogenic DNA, I think is what they said that they found in there. So yeah, they're killing us. They are definitely doing it. And I can see why they've got such a, what is all for money? Yeah, all for money. You're absolutely right. It's so sad that we're dying for money. But keep in mind, I don't have a problem with somebody like Musk making money as long as he's not killing me. You know what I'm saying? If he's doing something to help me, then he's entitled to it. It's these dark ones. It's not capitalism that's bad. It's capitalism that plants the seed, the opportunity for the money to be the seed of the root of the evil. So I'm not one of those zealots that go and say, oh, rich people are bad. That's not true. Donald Trump has given up his life to be, have numerous assassination attempts on him. And there's many more than the 3 or 4 that's come on. There were some way years ago. Your cat was vaccinated for the cat flu and got the flu, which was untreatable. Oh, no. Oh, no. God. I'm so sorry. Yeah, in Florida, we have to have still have to have the rabies vaccine. They're going to have to come hunt me down and take my dog away from me if they want me to have it. Hear that, guys, if you're online looking, because I won't do it. I won't do it. My dog is in the house all the time. Where's she going to get rabies at? Or he? Where's he going to get rabies at? It's just lies. My cat, same thing. My cat's in a house cat, and where's he going to get rabies? It's just crazy stuff. The vet told me if I had been a regular superficial transmission, they would have been able to cure her. Wow. So your vet told you that the shot caused it, you think? Is that what your vet said? Because mine said the same thing. That's how my Miss Tilly died. She had been fighting cancer for 5 years. She had to be put in a kennel. I wasn't there. My mom did it. And when my mom was babysitting her and she got in trouble with her community, when she took it to this kennel, they gave her the shot. Never came out of remission again. Yes, after. Why didn't he tell me before? I understand that. I'm so sorry. You got to wonder, and I agree. That's how I feel. He still vaccinates to this day as well. Yeah, so here they are, and they're telling you, where's the liability? Where's the liability? I'd like to know if anyone has sued a veterinarian for liability, for negligence. Successfully sued a veterinarian. The problem with that is you'd almost have to have him saying on a voice thing or some kind of recording of him saying that caused it. Has anyone been sued for negligence? I would think it's been done, but not over vaccines because they're required by law. So that turns it right into that suit we saw last week with the SCOTUS. People have successfully sued them because their actions led to the dog's death. But the problem is, if it's mandated, you can't sue them for breaking the law. You know what I'm saying? For not following the law, you can't sue them for not following the law. So that's the problem we have. The laws definitely need changed in this stuff. Yep. Don't do it, Shelley. I would have been that vet's worst nightmare. Yeah, she would have been. Nuremberg 2.0. Exactly. Exactly. That's what we're going to need. That's what we're going to need, and that's what we're going to see. I'm sure of it. I think we're going to see the trials, and we don't have, I don't think we have Han with us anymore, but it's all happening over in that case. I think that case is going to be huge over in the Netherlands. Law and mandate, not the same. That's true, but you see, the Supreme Court on that one case that I discussed last week or on Friday or something, they tried to sue because I forget exactly what the case was now, but you're right. Mandating is one thing. You can sue them for mandating it. But when the vet, if it's mandated, yeah, you can't sue. If they say that, well, what do you mean? I don't know, Dan. I'm not quite there with that. Who's autistic? If I was well, I would have. Oh, the vet is autistic. So he probably doesn't feel empathy. Well, that I don't call that autistic. I call that psychotic personally, but sociopathic, that's what it is. Sociopathic if you don't feel. Law and mandate is not the same. You're right. There are laws passed, but in Florida, the one vaccine is mandated. And just like in Florida, kids before there were vaccines mandated unless you got an exemption, and many doctors wouldn't give you an exemption. RFK dropped that number down from hundreds now, or 80. I think it was 80, something like that. A high number of mandated vaccines to a very small number now. So mandated, yeah. I kind of get what you're saying there. Huh. Okay. All right. So I'm so glad you got here, Vix. I'm so glad. She's over in not Denmark, Sweden. Isn't that really cool? So we had Sweden here. We had the Netherlands here. Just amazing. Just amazing that we're getting this reach. Okay, guys. So Tim will be home soon. I know you guys have lots to do, and I don't want to take up all of your time. Friday, we'll have one. Is it just real quick? If there's anything that you want me to prepare for on Friday, pop it in there, and I'll do a little research. I know, I'm glad you did. Pop it in there, and I'll do a little research. If there's something specifically, I will. I have marked that adrenal fatigue video for the Clean Living Lab. So we'll be doing one on that. It won't be the first one. The water's going to be first. The oils are out. And somebody asked for the ginger beer recipe also for their digestion. And also ginger is great for inflammation. So I'll be doing that one too on the ginger beer. And I'll probably cover on that one the effects of ginger, the medicinal effects of it. So, okay, nobody has anything special? Pop that in there if you want to. I'm sure lots more will come down the pike for us. Oh, drop my brownies recipe. Okay. Turmeric as well. Okay. Let me put that on here. Okay, brownie recipe and turmeric. Got it. I had planned on doing the turmeric. I hate the taste of it. And like I said, I don't do capsules because they're not pure. Tim does the turmeric a lot, but I've got them both down there. They're on the list. Ginger, yes, ginger and turmeric for inflammation. Ginger, I drink ginger beer. I eat ginger. Remember the, well, you might not because you weren't there, but remember the boardwalk taffy? There's ginger candies that you can get, gingins they're called, and I eat them all the time just to keep. I eat several of them, probably 4 a day, just to keep inflammation down. So I do it with ginger, but and it is effective with just the ginger. But if you want to do both, hey, in your position, if you like the turmeric, go for it. We'll do it. Oh, you do shots of the turmeric. Gosh, they burn. Turmeric shots? Tim said something about goat milk and cheese. Yes, yes. Yes. I can tell. Oh, there he goes. I recently fell in love with goat cheese and milk. It's super yummy and no dairy. Try it out, but not every supermarket will have it. Aldi has the goat cheese. We're becoming Aldi users. Yep, I refuse to get them for my fur babies too. Totally agree. So I think he left, Den. They have it in the shots. So the thing is, right, it's a drink shot. Okay, yes, that we have. Okay, that I'm like, an injection? I don't know about that, but it's a drink shot, if you can do them, yeah. All right, so we'll do one on that, and maybe come up with some number of doses. But here's the good thing. Now, the only thing about the turmeric is, if you take too much, I remember it has a bad side effect of too much turmeric. Oh, I had someone that was taking the capsules and they were overdosing themselves on it. It was causing liver damage, I think. Let me see if that's it. But I'm pretty sure it was liver damage. So you don't want to take too much. Everything moderation. When you said shot, I'm like, she's injecting herself with turmeric. So it burns going down. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Really? Isn't that something? Okay. They have them here. They make flavored ones too, I know, because Tim got them a couple times. And I'm good with that. All right, so that you know the, yeah. Okay, so it's the liver damage. I had somebody on the channel that got liver damage from these supplements of the turmeric. Kidney problems from the high oxalate in it. Increased bleeding risk, so it has natural blood thinning effects. Iron absorption, so it interferes with iron. If you take a multivitamin with minerals, don't do it. Take them separate, 2 hours, an hour before or 2 hours after. Gallbladder issues, it can worsen gallstones or bile duct problems. So again, there's who's it higher? Culinary amounts, 1 to 2 teaspoonsfuls daily is what's recommended as a culinary amount. In supplements, 500 to 2,000 milligrams per day of the curcumin is considered tolerable short term, but higher doses increase your risk. So, it's like anything. The symphony. Keep thinking of the symphony of all these different things that work in the same way. So you don't have to have one thing. Eat your anti-inflammatory holy basil. Eat the turmeric. Eat the ginger. Eat there's a whole list. I think I posted it for you. There's a whole list of the anti-inflammatory foods. So, I bet. I don't know how you stand it. I literally would be gagging as I was trying to take the shot. I couldn't do it. Honey, ginger, and turmeric mix. That's a good one. And you take a spoonful. See, now that is a reasonable amount. You're not going to overdose on that. Honey, yes. I just bought some Manuka. I did a lot of research on that. I always knew Manuka was great, but I have one coming tomorrow, I think. And when I do the honey video, I'll do that. That is a great mix for it, isn't it? Yeah. So the shots are good. Anything. This is what I've told Tim over and over again. Tim is a what do you call that? When somebody just has to overdo everything. He thinks if I take a little, 100 times that, it's going to be much better. And that's really not the case with any kind of thing you put in your mouth or your body. There's nothing that you can put the most. Keep that on my show. I take it myself. Keep that. Oh, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. And you grow your own garlic. No, not overachiever. He's not an overachiever by any means. Oh, it's the word when you balls to the wall, all or nothing type thing. That's what he is. Hi, Tammy, in human form. Yeah, I'm in human form today. No, not an exaggerator. Extremist. Extremist. Everything is an extreme. It's all or nothing. He's an extremist. And I thought I was an extremist at one point, but because I loved, travel and all, and I thought, no, Tim, until I met Tim, there's nothing he can get enough of. Yeah, he's an extremist. Okay, so Tammy just hit us. We were just getting ready to close up. So watch it from the beginning, Tammy. I'm so glad you made it. We talked about the SCOTUS decision with these birthright citizenships. Now, where are you at? Because I was going to plant garlic and over 100 heads. Wow. I was going to plant garlic and in Florida, it's too early. I have to wait until the fall because it's too hot here. So you must be in a cooler climate, I guess, if you grew that many. Or if you just harvested it, then you did grow it in the colder weather, right? Is all I have to say. LOL. Yeah, that's a lot of garlic, isn't it? You're going to have to. How did you do it? Do you have a certain. How do you grow it, Tammy? With such a great yield? Do you put it like in the. You grew it in cooler weather. We know that. But you have cool weather, Vixen, so it's not an issue about the temperature with you. Oh, okay. So you're driving home. Well, then don't type. Okay, don't type. But something said that's your intuition, sweetheart. That's a good thing. You're learning to develop your intuition. That's a good thing. You didn't know that we were having a live today or a live stream? Because that's funny. If you were driving and something said to put on the headphones. Okay, so Iowa, yeah, Mills County, Iowa. I just grow past people and it's data centers. Really? I just drove, I guess, past Google and its data centers. It's wild. Those data centers, we don't need them for our pictures. We need them for technology is what we need. I had the grow. Oh, so you had a grow light and all in your living room, but those garlic buds basically gave me the finger. I plant my garlic in the fall. Yeah, that's the time of the year is really important. That was my understanding of it as well. When I wanted to plant it with the ginger, and it said no, wait, and plant it in the fall. And I guess that's double important here in Florida. Okay, all right. So Tammy, we've got the oil video is on the Clean Living channel. Be sure to go over and see that along with the plastic one because it'll help you understand how these toxins in our oil and how to easily eliminate them. It's just a matter of reading the labels. So read that. I group planted in the fall so that I have it at this time of the year. Will become the Iowa Midwest garlic girl. I'm on my way last year with a short year because I gave too much away. Yeah, that's the thing. You have to store it, and it only stores so long in the fridge, so many months. But we eat loads of it. And we remember, you do know to eat it raw, right? You have to eat it raw if you want the bacterial effects. Oh, okay, my friend does that. She talks in the car and it registers it. So it's very important, guys. There's still benefits. But the allicin, which is specifically the antimicrobial features of garlic, is destroyed when you cook it. So if you have a cold or you're trying to prevent any kind of infection like that, you got to do it raw. You just have to, or it's destroyed. I did not know you were having a live stream. There you go. Your intuition is working, girl. I pulled up YouTube and there you were, so I decided to listen. Good. Yeah, intuition is a strange thing when you start developing it. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that we can do a video on or something that it just takes practice. It takes practice of when that thing of not second guessing yourself, just like you did, just do it. Put it on. What's the big deal? Put it on. And intuition is going to be so helpful in the future to us. Okay. All right, so drive home, sweetheart. And I'm so grateful to every one of you for sharing your precious time with me. We've got a live on Friday again at 4 o'clock. It drops something in this chat goes off quickly, and I can't respond to it after I shut it down. So just anywhere you want, if you want any post of any video, just post on there a new post that if you want to talk about something on Friday in that live. If not, we'll just wing it like we did this time. Freezing the garlic, we've never done it. I don't know, Tammy. What are you going to do? Are you gonna freeze that garlic? We keep ours in the fridge, but if we can freeze it, that's even better yet. Let me see. See if Tammy's got it. Okay, we'll do. She'll turn that in there. She's got something. Yes, garlic can be frozen to preserve. Well, you learn something new every day, don't we, guys? Whole bulbs is not ideal. It says to peel, peeled or unpeeled. You can separate the cloves and place them in a freezer bag or airtight container. Of course, I don't put them in the freezer bags because of the plastic, but I'll put it in my little metal containers, and they'll keep for 6 to 12 months. That's great. And of course, chopped or minced and fresh ice cube trays you can do too. Once frozen, we don't transfer them to bags. Thank you. That are convenient. Okay. And then, of course, I don't cook them, but that's okay. It can soften or change the texture slightly, but the flavor remains the same. So that's an important safety tip that we learned, isn't it? Oh, you buy yours frozen. Well, it works. It's the way to preserve it. Yes. Garlic and honey. I hadn't tried that one. Isn't that great? So you guys are so far ahead of us. They shove plastic down our throats so much that it's absolutely insane. So they sell it frozen in paper cartons. That's really cool. We don't have anything like that. That's why I love to travel. You learn something new everywhere you go. Everybody has something to teach us, and I learn every day of my life. I continue to learn it, and I'm not ashamed to say it if I don't know something. If I don't know it, we can look it up. We can discuss it. Now I know because you said it. I know that we can, that garlic can be frozen and preserved. So that's really cool for 6 to 12 months. Just pour it over your food chopped up without cooking it. That's perfect. Yeah. Yep, Timmy's back. He was on. Did you hear that, Tim? We can freeze our garlics now and keep them longer. Okay, guys. I am going to cut it out now because I'm going to try and work on the Dan video as well as the water filter video that I've got to add some to. And you guys have a great evening. Have a great rest of the week. And I hopefully will see you, every one of you, on Friday because I love you the most. Oh, wait. Brother found some nice glass containers that you can freeze in. Yep. Going to get a set, maybe a few. I put some, that's great. Also in the plastic video on the Clean Living Lab, Shelley, there's a list. I went through and I found the cheapest ways to buy glass, and I showed them to you and so forth, glass or even metal containers. I've got a list on that. Tammy keeps hers in the fridge. She uses it in tinctures. I make my own medicine. Gosh, you guys are amazing. I chop up a lot and put in honey. Each one of them has a different herb and such in it, and I cook with it. Yep. That's amazing. That's what we're doing. So I hope you're on the Clean Living channel because it looks like you've been exploring this quite a bit, and we can use somebody like you on it that maybe has some things that we don't know about. I think Vix is already on it, but okay. So I love you guys. Talk to you soon. See you Friday, I hope. Bye-bye. And Patricia will be back on Friday, I think. Bye-bye, guys. Love you. All right, I got to figure this stream out, and I'm hitting end now. Bye-bye.